Good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome back to GKP Live. I hope everybody's good and hope everybody's had a good week. Usual thing, guys, we will be right back. This would have, if I were going to pick this show, I'm going to pick that one. So we've got a lot more up to come. Nice patterning, nice separation. Look at that, beautiful fish. And again, check this out, guys. This is something else. That is beautiful. Absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
Nice wild common carp coming up for a piece of bread. Perfect. And have a look at his koi facility again, and look at this full cherry blossom. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to get from the other side so we've got the sun behind us so that you can see this, but this is absolutely stunning. Yeah, it is. This is beautiful.
Looks good, drink.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely beautiful. Without further ado, I'll get us inside, have a look round, and let you see what you think. Welcome back, everybody. Good evening, gents, and we do have another guest with us, which is obviously Rick this evening. He's just popped for a quick bathroom break, I do believe. Oh. There's me playing the loop back.
We're back Rick on. Himself hasn't been asleep yet since yesterday.
Yeah.
I shall let them explain as to why and what for.
Oh, because
tell everybody why you've not slept since yesterday.
This reprobate down here had me driving down to New Forest at 4 o'clock, well, 3 o'clock this morning to record the spawnings that went on. And oh my word. Yeah, wow. Wow.
Lucky, wasn't it? Good timing.
It was a success then.
Oh, yeah.
Not a complete success, but.
Did the Heat series not go?
No, we did 9 out of the 14. So, yeah, there's 5 to go, hopefully tomorrow.
And we did that extra one as well, the extra frost.
Yeah. Better than you could really hope for, but you always just want them all to go because I don't want to go back. I don't want to spend another night there, but
yeah. So you got five other sets to do, as and when over the next day or two, I would imagine.
Yeah. Hopefully, there's a lot of them are doubled up, so we only need one of the Heat series sets to cover the bases, 2 to optimize things. But yeah, it's it wasn't bad. It was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was eye opening. And you know that gorgeous Cargay Heat series, Gaz? Even better when you're up close to it.
Oh, I bet it is, man.
And would you believe it's 20 years old?
No,
wow.
It's an old fish, yeah.
Looks good for its age.
So, well, that just goes to show when a fish is bred from quality stock, that they don't tend to fade off, because that looks vibrant as hell, the colours in that fish. I would have never said that fish without urge. No way.
Oh, yeah.
Pushing 8, 9 maybe, but
I thought it was about 8 years old looking at it.
Yeah, but not 20-year-old. That's a good going, isn't it? And still spawning there, male or female?
That's a male, yeah. So he was in the tank with his grandson at the time. So we've used it, and it's Yeah, 2003, 2004, I brought it out in Japan. So, yeah, he's been around a while, and he's as strong as an ox, and I reckon he'll go on for years yet.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's certainly not a fish in its peak condition, because I would have said that was a fish in its prime. I'm not saying it's at its end, as it obviously, it could live for many, many more years, but I wouldn't have thought that age. No way. 8 or 9 for its size. It's a good sized fish, but that is beautiful, mate. Is that rare then for a Kage Hiyatsuri?
Yeah. Well, I've never seen a Kage. It wasn't a Kage Hiyatsuri when I brought it. It's developed that with age, and no idea.
It's getting better and better.
How big is it, Ricky?
The older it gets, the better a fish it's becoming.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's probably about 70. I don't know, 70 centimetre maybe. But it's been kept, cold. Most of our brood stock are kept cold, so it seems a bit weird. But we keep them cooler so they don't try and spawn before we want them to. So they don't really grow in the same way as if you were trying to grow them, and they probably don't age perhaps in the same way as if you're trying to grow them.
If you were trying to grow them,
all back to the same. Yeah.
But was you saying, Ricky, that you've not managed to get the Kage part to transfer through to the offspring?
Not any we've kept. I've never kept any that long. So,
but is there a chance if you kept them long enough, then it could develop?
Highly possible. Yeah, I mean it's in half the genes or whatever. But we don't keep fich. Collection will go on pretty early. So but its daughter was more impressive than it was, and then obviously its grandson that we were using today, I think is even better. It's not got the cargo, but the quality is just superb. But
unreal, absolutely unreal. And I'll tell you what, looking at the 3, you couldn't tell which one was the UK bred fish from parents.
Yeah,
there's absolutely no way you could have told the difference.
Yeah,
not at all.
But that's the aim of the game, isn't it? And Hiyatsuri a bit of a different animal. They're not as refined as some other varieties.
No.
So
sorry about that.
And you're not going to wear this lightly, and you're not going to wear this very often. But I was impressed with a Sankey.
Was it a butterfly Sankey?
Now, considering this is from second generation, third generation? That's Sankey?
That's the second. So
it's second generation fish, 3 years old today, and over 70.
Wow.
No, 67. It wasn't over 70.
67, that's it. 67 cm. 3 years today.
Yeah.
Come on, heck. That's a
It hasn't spawned, so it's not in my good books.
Yeah, the 2 that he really wanted to spawn, which was the Hiyatsuri and the Sankey, and neither one wanted to play ball.
No,
Is that perhaps maybe a little on the young side still then? Because Daz has got one that's the Karashigoi Daz.
Oh,
yours didn't spawn, and I think she's is she 3 year old or is she 2 year? Yeah,
I think she might be 3 years old. But
Mick, if you're on, how old's the Karashigoi, mate? I've got a sneaky suspicion she's only knee side. I think she might just be knee side, which would indicate why she might not have done.
Yeah. I mean, she looks full of spawn, but she's just not having it.
If they're full of eggs, then they'll normally spawn regardless. But it's that first spawning is more tricky. And once you've spawned them once, they tend to spawn easier.
Yeah.
Well, we videoed that today, didn't we, with the golden corn?
Inquiry guy. Yeah, so that I put that in as a male, but it actually
turns out to be female.
It's only Nisai and was laying eggs, so we took the eggs and messed about with that as another one.
Yeah,
so, quite a busy morning.
I've got 5 to go.
2 massive. One's supposed to be male, one's supposed to be female, but they both got female to me.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
yeah,
we
that's
put,
the thing
we put
about
young ones in so they could show
Oh,
some males
I'm
never
interested.
produce milk, and so it just shows their hand a bit, and obviously we get a better understanding of which ones will be usable in the future, which ones produce milk, which ones are actually up for the job. Yeah, you find some males are just bang up for it. You've only got to put them anywhere near another fish, and others are
It's
just
full with anything. Yeah.
so.
What
Yeah.
blew me away was every fish was hand stripped, but the amount of milk in comparison to the amount of eggs blew my mind. Literally, you had that much eggs, you're using that much milk. It just
minuscule amount. Yeah.
it just
What's about the average you get out of a male? About 20 mil, if that. If you were looking on a good sized male.
It varies massively. Today we've gone from nothing through to probably 100 mil or more. Some of them.
There was a couple. It was like drip, and then the next one it had come out and it was it just fell out of it like it was like a tap.
All you need literally is a couple of drips. Two drips and you're in business.
Sorry, guys.
All you need.
We got to remember that our other guest this evening, which is on McCoy, which is Aaron and Leo.
Is that to explain
maybe a little? Well, no, it's not. And to be fair, we should make it weird because it doesn't need to be weird. It's perfect.
It's all right. I've got Ez here with me as well.
what's
The other thing that shocked me was out of all the females that were stripped, there was at least 5 different colours of egg.
Yeah.
That ranged from green all the way through to brown.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? You think they'll all be the same.
What were you saying then, Aaron? What were you trying to?
I just that's it. He said, "What's milk?" I said, "Oh, like quietly, it's sperm." That, and then us two and then there's been the same. It was coming out like a tap, and then there's us two trying to be like.
It's just so you know, not just so we're not getting him mistaken. It's not milk. It's milk. Yeah, milk.
Milt. Milk.
Yeah. Don't drink it if it's in the fridge.
Yeah, don't put that on your cereal.
No. And lastly was the fact that they will actually last for how long in that bag?
I honestly don't know. 5-6 hours is easy, I think, to do the eggs and the milk. They just sit there doing nothing, so you could transport them, do whatever. But yeah, I've never.
Both separate. The milk and the eggs separate.
No.
So you can put the milk in with the eggs, and then you just when it hits the water, then it's the reaction.
That's when
It's sticky.
Guys, we've got to try it. We've got to give it a go. We've got to have a go.
Yeah.
Do it in Anspo.
Well, put it this way. The videos are going to be pretty much exactly the same on both channels, but there is 3 hours worth of footage to be watched. So it's going to be broken down into
3 hours.
You can edit it.
Get your popcorn.
No, you know, people like it raw. You know, that's
You missed the best bit. You missed the best bit. Do you know the fish that smacked me around the head?
Yeah.
The big kajaki. Well, the second time I did it, it did the same whilst throwing eggs up my face, all in my ear. and the first thing I did was tried to wash them out, and they went sticky in my ear.
Honestly, we've got it on camera. This fish is not playing ball, and then all of a sudden it just comes out of his arms and goes slap. Fucking great big tail fin straight across the kisser.
I did it again, but yeah, just eggs, literally the whole side of my face, in my ear, and yeah. And I tried to wash it off. I thought, you idiot, and they just all stuck in my ear, and Yeah.
So when you know that they're
They
getting
hatch
ready
yet?
and they're actually going to get ready for going, and they start getting into the motion of actually spawning, do you not take the male out and the female sedate first and then go through it? Do you do it like with them fully?
You've got to let them, the females fully ovulate. So once they start releasing the eggs, then you can anaesthetize them and strip them. But I don't like to anaesthetize them too heavy. But the flip side of that is then
there's enough about them to give you a clout if they want it.
Yeah, you have a fight now and again.
Yeah.
So
And she's not a small kajaku either. I mean, she's fucking tail on it. It's just quality.
yeah, she did give me a
Oh,
But-
you wait till I tell Susan you got a second one and then got covered in eggs.
proper job. But yeah, we got a nice load of eggs from her. So hopefully, if they're good, jobs are good.
So will that be it then for this season, or will you go again later on?
No, we've still got to do all the big stuff yet. So we've got the Shiros, Kahakus, the main Sankis, Showers. We're not even into this preliminary rounds.
So there's some of these are the beginning ones, are the experimental ones, and the ones that you try something different. Then
just to create what we haven't got, and then we'll do the box. I say the bog standard stuff. That's actually the harder stuff. But
the bread and butter stuff, as in I don't by which I mean the Go-Sankis, the most popular.
Most popular, most pain in the bum. Quite a lot. But yeah. They're a lot bigger. Huh?
I was just saying, so how was your week been then, Daz? Been busy, mate? I know you've sent me a lot. I also going to have quite a bit of footage to put out from when we was down the last at Daz's Koi Farm. When we were down there, he had a couple of fish that were in ready for a natural spawn. So there's going to be a bit of both from yourself, Vince, and coincidentally a little bit from us, which will be fish spawn in the natural way. Daz had them all prepped and ready, and we all stayed back till late dying. Well, not the dying hours, but the late hours of, especially bearing in mind that we've all got drives to go home.
It was dark.
We stayed, thinking that something were going off. Fish were starting to act a little bit different. You could see that stuff were going on. Female were checking out the spawn brushes and stuff, and we knew something were going to happen. Every time we stepped out and we got a quiet minute, you could hear a good thrash and a good splash, and you thought, "Oh, let's go back in," and nothing, as if it were all just playing at it a little bit. But going. That very same evening, they did spawn and into the next day, and then Daz has had how many spawns in total now? You had, Daz?
I think I had about 6 in total. Yeah, I've got 3 more to go. Hoping they're going to go tonight.
3 more to do. So there you go. So hopefully we've got some footage of them put together, put into a video as well. So you'll have some other footage to see of spawning as well. But Daz's experiments and mad science.
The problem I find with Ricky is it's so full of knowledge, and I'm not saying it just because he sat down. I spend a lot of time with him. He oozes passion and when you're just stood there watching fish, and he's chatting away. You can't not record what he's saying because it's just more not. And I don't know about other people, but when I'm with someone like that, I'm like a sponge. I'll take anything they can give me.
It's gold, isn't it, Vince?
And that's what I'm trying to give the people that are watching.
Yeah.
And that's why I try to keep the videos as raw as possible, so then they don't miss any of that. And there's been a couple of times today when I've had the camera put away, and then we've been chatting. And I'm like, oh, fuck, this is stuff people will want to know. And that's why the videos tend to go on, is because he's just a fountain of knowledge, and you just can't not put it on camera for people to appreciate. Can you see what I mean?
Oh yeah, mate, 100%. Because that's Rick. Nobody else has really. Well, a few farms have done it, but nobody else has done. And I'm finding this interesting week in, week out myself, because I've never seen anybody else do this.
No,
Open go. There you go. this is who we are. This is what we do. This is what we're doing. Come join us on the journey. Nobody else is doing it. And I can't for the mind, well, I can't find out why there haven't been any other people come and join us and do the same thing and share what they're doing and share their journey as well. Because I think
Trade secrets.
well, I think trade secrets that people enjoy watching, understanding, knowing, learning from, and then come to buy from you to grow on the fish that they're watching you purchase, that you're producing. So, I mean, it's
exactly
win-win,
that.
isn't it? It's for me anyway. It's certainly got me interested in thinking more about perhaps maybe having a go. I won't mind doing some spawning, but I haven't really got the room. But what I would do if I was to hand strip now, I know that if I would have a go with Daz down there and any of my fish get somewhere close or near to spawning, I would like to see what my fish would produce. I could hand strip them, I could put the milk in and put the eggs in, bag them up, put them together, down to Daz's, into a little vessel, and boom, we've got.
You wouldn't even need to do that, Gaz. All you need is a little pop-up vat to spawn them in. They only need it to be in there 24, 48 hours, because once she actually starts releasing the eggs, that's when you take her out and you strip her.
Yeah,
So
that's what I mean.
You've got that small vessel which you can have then set up ready with your brushes. You then just mix straight into there.
Yeah,
Take
all the
this
fish
one
we
down,
fish we
put it
spawn
away.
are already back in their ponds, done.
Yeah.
So it's only the remainder that are left. So the 40, 45 parents that were in the breeding tunnels now down to 10, because the rest have done their job and they're all moved. So it's
all in the space of 2 or 3 days.
yeah. Well,
You know what I
moved,
mean?
they're gone, done. So yeah, it's simplifying things.
For people like me and you guys, just doing a pair just to see how our fish would produce.
Yeah.
It's if you've got the confidence, then it's perfect. Because like Ricky does, he controls then how many eggs he keeps and how many that he don't keep. You know, it's being able to fine tune it, but it doesn't have to be on a large scale to be able to do it. If you do it this way and it's done right, you see what I mean?
That's why most hobbyists could have a go at doing this on a smaller scale at home, and to be able to see what you're putting out, to see how to do it, it's like what Mark Gardner was doing as well, isn't it? He was showing people what was what. That was one of his last videos that I watched of him. Well, it was his last video that I personally watched. And that was all about how to do it, how to go about it, and what it was going to produce from it, which is what you're continuing with, mate, which is what I think's amazing. So it's a way that more people show it, the more people might get involved in it, the more people might have a go themselves. Yes, all right, some people might not be as successful as what you're being, and they might not produce some beautiful fish, but to know that they've got young from their fish and bring them from, egg and milk to fry, from fry to fingerling, from fingerling to toe side, knee side, and seeing what they become, it's very much
crucial to their hobby.
Yeah, very much so. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. No, I think that's a massive part of the hobby it's kind of missed by a lot of people. And then the amount of people that come to us say, I want to spawn my fish. So that you get 2 options then. You buy fry from someone like us where you can choose the parents, or you can see what we're doing and buy fish from specific fish, or do your own. A lot of people try their own and see how they go. It is the breeding side of it is really easy.
It is. A lot of people get scared, don't they?
It's the rearing side that is the hard bit.
It's more labour intensive than everything else.
That first 6-week window is
the early days. Yeah,
it's crucial.
Yeah, that's when it's make or break. You lose more, you keep them at that point.
Really interesting all the same. Watching him, I mean, Daz surprised himself this time with what he's done, because he's got the camera out and he's been filming a little bit of the fries and noticing patterns on the fish like you did, Rick, straight away. And he's not really, because he's got the camera and he can zoom in on it and he can see the fish and think, wow, normally
I could
Missed
actually
that.
see a
Yeah.
two-step cartridge pattern on it on a fry. It was about 10 millimeters long. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, you get different. It's not patterns so much. You get the different base colors.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you tend to find that you can pick patterns at 1 to 2 inch, but you can see base colors early doors. But we've never had that one spawn, and we did that everyone chose. I've never seen fry like that actually hatched in uniform 2 base color. 2 colors per fry. They hatch black, they hatch orange, they hatch, and these have hatched.
Yeah,
There's only 10% of them say, but they've hatched. From tail to shoulder black, shoulder to head orange, and obviously that's now split into spots and different pigments and whatever. But that is their base color. They're not.
They do stand out.
Every variety has its base color, but suddenly we've now got a variety that hasn't. It's got 2 base colors. So, yeah.
Well, right. For now, we'll might get back to this, and probably will do. But I'm going to let Aaron and Leo. Leo, you've had a special request. You're live on camera. Do a dab.
Do a dab.
Oh.
There you go. Umbercoy. And as far as I'm not saying it is, but as far as we know, it's one of the youngest sons and father teams on YouTube trying to create and coming up with a new channel. So I'm going to let these guys introduce yourselves a little bit, and then you can tell us a little bit about what you got planned and what you're hoping to do and what you've got up and coming. And I'm going to stick your channel up there, mate, with a link for everybody to whip on by and get these father and son team in the journey with us and the rest of us on YouTube. So over to you, bud.
I'm Aaron.
Yeah.
And we are Humbercoy. What we're doing is we're just sharing our journey as a father and son team. We're complete beginners. We seek a lot of advice from people, and we're just recording our journey and mistakes and everything. We're documenting the full lot on how we're doing and how we're getting to the point we are. And we're just enjoying the journey together and having a go at documenting it. It's something we'll come up back at, but the pair of us, something we can have a good laugh at and do it together.
Now, yourself and Leo will be joining us next weekend, and Vince. So you're going to get to meet everybody again, Leo. We're all going to be going to a secret Sanka. So
Ricky's going to be there as well.
Yeah. Oh, Ricky's going to be there. Daz, me, myself, Vicky.
Rocket Boy's going to be there.
No, he was going to be going.
And Tony's coming as well.
So there's going to be a fair few.
We're taking the crowd.
Yeah.
It's good.
Taking the crowd, and we're rocking up with a group. So hopefully we'll get to, hopefully you guys will get to pick up some new info, and we will pick up a hell of a lot of new info. It's going to be in back and listening and learning for me as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
And I've just posted the Humbercoy link just in the comments, guys. If you can do us a huge favour, let's see if we can give them a little bit of a lift, give them a little bit of support, and share the community spirit amongst them, and hopefully we can get them a few more subscribers.
So man.
They're yep. Go on, bud.
What is it you like most out of the koi?
What I like most out of the koi.
Yeah. Is it the watching interacting with them, playing about with the filters, or is it just doing it with your dad?
Doing it with my dad and just looking at the amazing colours and how they swim around, really. Like, I can remember when they were small and they would come up right to the surface and start swimming around and darting real fast. I just like watching them go speedy fast, and I like seeing them do what they do.
Yeah. So you'll have them hand feeding this summer then?
Well, that's this weekend's project. We're going to introduce something to try and make it hand feed a bit easier.
A bit easier.
Yeah.
It'll definitely be easier now that the temperatures is going up. I've always found crab sticks to be the best.
Did you hear that? There's your tip of the day, Leo. Crab sticks.
I like crab sticks.
Yeah. Mussels, crab sticks. And Vince feeds absolutely all sorts of stuff, mate.
Oh, yeah.
There's other channels out there that feed, well, I mean, for example, if you watch Vince's latest video that he's just dropped this evening, the things that Rick feeds, you wouldn't, powdered versions, but still veg, fruits, and all sorts that you wouldn't imagine that they'd put in food, but it's part of his secret mix. So,
It's not secret. I've told everyone.
it's not
It's not secret now. That's out the bag.
100%. But yeah, it's
So
Oh,
now,
that's what I was going to ask you, Ricky. Fuller's Earth clay.
Do what?
Fuller's Earth, which is a clay, isn't it? It's a powdered clay. Would that be any good?
It depends on. Yeah, clay's just There's so many types of clay. Obviously, we use our own clay from the ground on the farm in the liner ponds. It helps absorb ammonia, it buffers. It does all the things. But the trouble is, like the clays that we have naturally, they'll stay in the water. They become part of the water column. They don't want to settle out. Whereas bentonite clay and stuff that you buy as the products will naturally swell and then absorb stuff and then settle out. So your water goes crystal clear very quickly. And that's just different types of clay.
It's just I was trying to find powdered clay, but without the koi tax. And
you can buy bentonite clay. You can buy bentonite clay, 25 kilo sacks for peanuts. That's used for lining reservoirs, for sealing holes and things in it. But it's not. Every clay's made different. So will have slightly different levels of minerals and all sorts. So you'd hope a proper koi clay that they're selling for 30 quid a kilo or whatever is got everything you want and nothing you don't want, whereas stuff you're getting from a builder's merchant or digging out the ground you're not sure of. Like I say, we use our own clays on the farm because we don't care about water clarity. It's all about stabilizing the water and what we want it to do. But the stuff we use for myself that I feed is a proper, purchased clay that has all the different minerals and stuff in it. And to put the light back on. So it's one of those things. You can shortcut stuff, but if you don't know what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve,
but that was why I asked, because I know a lot of people will be trying to find, because the list's out there now, people are going to look at powdered clay and think, right, can I use this? Which is why I did a quick search, and under powdered clay, the one that I found was Fuller's Earth, and that's why I thought I'd mention it to see if you knew.
There's all sorts, I mean, again, it's the same thing as using chemicals to treat fish. I can't recommend anything. I use what I use. For the stuff I put in the foods is, purchased proper clays. But the stuff we use in the ponds on the farm is our own, basically clay out the ground. But they're for slightly different purposes. So you can buy bentonite clays and whatever, and they're available all sorts of prices. And depends what you're trying to achieve with them. Me, it's just replacing in that particular unit is that water has been in there. It's probably had one full water change in 5 years. That water's been used beyond use. It's just revitalizing certain minerals in there, and obviously that makes a difference to how the fish develop. So it's a different scenario on the farm where we're using water continually. It's a totally different scenario. But you can buy clays, all sorts of prices. I think it's one of those things. get on the forum, see who's used what, see who's got good recommendations for what you're trying to achieve. The reason that I put stuff on the food is to create a much broader diet for the fish. When you're growing them like that, and you're relying on the manufacturer to create a food, but they're trying to create the cheapest food they can that will do the job. And obviously, it's not as much cutting corners, but it's a business. So if I can add certain vitamins, minerals, color enhancers for peanuts, why wouldn't I? It's kind of a no-brainer to me. It's just a bit of a added hassle, and you can go further. You can start adding garlic powders for parasite control. You can start adding yeast for immune stimulation. There's lots of layers to it, and the food companies, as they add them, the food then becomes much more expensive. If you read the packet of a food, it will have yeast in the product. It will have those things in it for those reasons. You can do stuff yourself to a point. As long as you start with a decent diet, you can then add things to make it fit what you're trying to achieve with it. Be it color, growth, water quality. Obviously, in that scenario, water clarity, should I say, is not an issue. So the clays and stuff, I want it to be a bit green. I want it to be coloured because the fish develop better in those conditions. But most people ponds, they don't want that. So, not one fix all.
No.
We've got a couple of questions coming up, and we've got a couple. Aaron, well, you just dipped off then. I was literally going to give Leo a quick prompt, but you came back quicker than I got
right.
Because we had a quick question just for him, which is, what's Leo's favourite kite? Quick, move forward, mate. Sneak in there, get in there, take the full screen, make the most of it. Try while you can. There we go. Question you've been asked is, what's Leo's favourite kite?
My favourite kite is either the Dietary or the Piracina.
If you had to pick one, which would it be?
Dietary.
The Dietary.
Dietary.
Yeah, good choice. Nice fish. Got to admit though, that Piracina is really good, mate. It is a nice fish that you've got. It's stunning.
I can tell you what, you see some of the whites on the fish today. Oh, my word.
I'm going to go through a couple of these comments just so people don't think we're missing. If anybody has got any questions they would like to ask McCoy, Daz, Rick, Vince, or myself, please feel free to do so. If you've got any topics you would like to bring up this evening for us to chat, please make sure that you all put them in capital letters, then I know they stand out from any other thing, and we're not just going through the chat searching for questions and me having to read every individual one. Any questions, put them in capital letters for us, guys. It would be greatly appreciated. I'll go through, we'll have a quick catch up with a few other things, and hopefully then we can kick back into some of this evening's some of this evening's topics that we've got to talk about. We've got a couple, and hopefully you guys will provide us with a few more. Mr. Tropical Koi says, feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme. Get in there, it's GKP time.
Brilliant.
We were talking about cool runnings of a day, so that's where that one's come from. Paul Bowler says, hi, Mr.
You're dead yet.
Good evening. Yeah, man. I sent him a video back of him in the bathtub when they're practicing like that.
Yeah.
The whole team was doing that in the bathtub. Bubble and Fins, which is Vicky, says, you go, Mr. Tropical Kite. Carlos C says, evening all. Paul Butler says, Carlos C. Hillsley says, hi all. How are you doing, Hillsley? Thanks for joining us again, mate.
It's great.
DT Koi says, evening everyone. Hope everyone is having a good week. Thank you very much, Dave. I hope you are too, bud. Condolences to your family, mate. Ricky Brown says, evening Koi nerds. Well, he'll tell you. I just wanted to make sure that I got it in there. And to your partner as well, mate. Bubble and Finn says, good evening, everyone. Hope everyone has a great day. Let's settle in for another Thursday night with the guys. Thank you very much, Vicky. I appreciate that, love.
Yeah.
Mr. Trucker,
How's that polytunnel coming on?
Well, still looking mint, mate. She showed me the other day, and it still looks nice and taut, but it's still proper condensated up on the inside of it. How long does it take for them to dry inside? Get a bit hot.
That's all Leo's doing. That weren't you guys. I see this little man doing all the bloody work on that video.
He did, yeah. I think single-handedly that little man kept every chicken, every duck, every turkey fed to the brim with every worm that we exposed and dug up. They were all running around busting.
This is definitely a worm shortage in that garden now.
If any member of public or YouTuber would like to join us this evening, at the top of the chat you will see a little link which is in there. Feel free to come on. I would like somebody to come on as a member of public. I would like a few more people from the public coming on and joining us. And the reason being is I would like somebody to come on again this week and join us this evening so that they can pick the next fish for the Koi Appreciation Hour that we did like last week. Now, there has been several people send me pictures, which is fine, it's not a problem. But it's not this week, guys. Every 2 weeks, we're going to have a Koi Appreciation. So the next Thursday evening's live will be about the Asaga. So anybody that wants to send any pictures, videos, images, footages, you can do so by either sending it through to Gaz's Koi Pond 1 at virginmedia.com, or you can send it by joining the Facebook group or the Discord link, or just sending it to me directly through Facebook Messenger. Anything, any form of method you want to choose, as long as you can get them photos across to me, and we will share the pictures of your fish and talk about them and discuss them and have a look and pick the fish that we like the best out of the bunch when we showcase them next week.
And if you haven't got an Asagi but would like to join in, get on New Forest Koi website. It's got plenty of real nice Asagi.
Get one drip.
Lovely Ginrin ones as well.
They don't have to be big ones. Yeah, exactly, Vince. This is what I'm thinking about doing, balling up both mine. I have a 10 cm Asagi, which I picked up from New Forest Koi. Beautiful little fish. And I also have 21 or 22 cm Asagi, which I'm really happy with the growth that I picked up from last year from Daz. Well, last summer from Daz. So it's literally coming up to, well, no, back end of summer this year, Daz, it'll be Tosai, won't it? So it's coming up to 12 months old. And I'll be balling them up and showing you the two that I've got, hopefully. I mean, you don't have to be big fish, you know, anything that you, this is about sharing and showcasing your fish so that you can show us what you appreciate and what you like, and for us to have a look at. Nothing more, no more. It's not going to be us saying, well, that fish is rubbish, this, that, or the other. We'll give you his opinion on it, and we'll talk about it and have a discussion it, but we will pick the one that we like the most. But it's just to get a little bit of Koi appreciation from everyday pond keepers and Koi keepers, and just let everybody see what we're keeping in this ponds.
Well, I've actually got 4 that I'm going to be putting in.
Sweet.
You've got the big one that Susan owns in the main pond. You've got the Adam Bayer one that's in the Tosai tank. You've got the Ginrin New Forest Koi one. And I've also got the Cartco Snow Asagi.
Oh, the Snow Asagi.
I've got a few different ones.
You're still showcasing the best of British, aren't you? If
Susan's one Japanese.
New Forest Koi and from Daz's, you know, it's best of British. Most of Vince's there were English fish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they don't have to be Japanese, they don't have to be certified, they don't have to be this, that, and over. You can just share us your fish that you like and you're fond of. That's all we're asking. That's all I'm asking. What I would like people to see is the 2 fish that both me and Vince picked from New Forest Koi, the Ginrin Asagis, because I had a Ginrin Snow Asagi, which the Heron took last year, which absolutely, I would devastated over it. I'd grown it I bought it for 50 pence from my local dealers, just as a random fry, and I'm like, that looks like he's got a little bit of a zip on it or something. I'm not sure. I think that could be something nice. And as it happened, it was the robing pattern coming up on his back. And it turned into a snow white Asagi. It was stunning. And I got it to about 12 cm. And then the Heron snatched it. and I was gutted. So the Ginrin one, which I got from Ricky's, was really to replace that one. Daz is a standard, and the one I got from Ricky. But what I want you guys to see when we ball them up, I want you guys to see if you think there's a very good set, because I think, Vince, yours may be a little bit bigger than mine, but I think pattern-wise they look pretty much.
They look absolutely identical, didn't they?
Stunning. So that's for next week, guys. Make sure you get your photos in, and you've all videos and photos, whichever, the more the better for me. It gives us something that we can flick through and have a look. Drop them through. Like I said, Gaz's Koi Pond 1 at virginmedia.com, or on the Facebook group. Feel free to join if you wish. If you don't want to, and you just want to upload your picture, join. I will add you, and you can leave again afterwards. It's perfectly fine. I don't mind people coming and going if you don't want to be there. If you just want to source it, you can get a photo across. The Discord channel, you can also post them in there. Feel free to join on that. All these links can be found on my home about channel on YouTube. There's a little link with the instructions that will tell you exactly how to do what you need to do. You're aware. So that's that little topic out of the way, because I've just got to the evening guys from Mr. Tropical Koi. I'll flick through a few more, and then we'll get into some of his topics and discussions. DT Koi says, will GKP be live on time, early or late? Well, I hope all you noticed.
Bang on the nose.
Bang on the nose this evening. Bang on. Ricky Brown says late. We were right.
No.
Dave thinks bang on. There you go, mate. Inside info. No, it wasn't. I just.
Yeah.
And I
We actually made a joint decision.
I asked these lot what we should do. Whether we should just go bang on time, or we should keep you all waiting a little bit, or we should go early. So we went bang on. Edward Guppy says, good evening, everyone. Have a good time tonight, Gaz. Gaz's Koi Pond. Have a good time tonight with Gaz's Koi Pond. Cheers. Thanks very much, Edward. Appreciate it, mate. David Cook says, hello, everyone. Mr. Lawson says, good evening, all. Hope you're all well. You too, mate. Hope you're feeling better now, bud. Sounded a lot better when we spoke last night.
He did, didn't he? Yeah.
He sounded a hell of a lot better than what he did. Jiggsy's Mountain View says, howdy, folks. Koi Karma says, hi, guys. Hope everybody's good. I'm just going to speed through them as much as I can so we can catch up with some of the other stuff, that's all. Amanda Smith with an evening all. Keith Smith with evening all. Thank you very much, both of you, for joining us. John Cope's got an evening, everyone.
Evening, John.
Lloyd's Koi. Hi, all, with a thumbs up. Thank you very much for joining us.
That's a new one.
That is a new one. I was just thinking that. Let's see if we can find. There we go. Lloyd's Koi, go to channel, as we always like to do. And it is new, very, very new. Lloyd's Koi, as of yet, we don't have any content, but one well worth bookmarking, guys, in case this is a new up-and-coming channel, which could possibly.
In fact, I think I might know who that is.
Oh, there you go. Lloyd's Koi, there's his channel. He's got 2 subscribers at present.
If it is who I think it is, he's part of the Ground Show group.
Sweet. Well, hopefully, fingers crossed, he starts sharing a bit of content and we can subscribe along and join him or her. There we go. That's that one done. Paul Mack says, good evening all at the GKP. Thanks for joining us again.
Hi, Paul.
Evening, Paul.
Wells Koi, man flu has hit. Now, mate.
Right.
What you need to do now, bud, right? Because I know how bad this shit is, and women will never understand how bad man flu is. This is a legal requirement that you should now be waited on hand and foot for the next 2 weeks while you recuperate and get over what is far worse than any COVID, far worse than any other thing we've had out there. Man flu knocks men sideways. So I hope you get better soon, mate. Fingers crossed, your lass will take care of you and look after you right.
How's the auction going? Have you seen
mate,
the wire bonsai that he's got for auction?
Nice.
Mate.
Very
Pop over to Will's channel, guys. He's got an auction going for a handmade bonsai, wire bonsai, and this one is the best one he's done yet. It is phenomenal.
It is well worth having a look, guys. If you aren't, get yourself over there to Will's channel, Will's Koi, and have a look at that bonsai because that guy's got some serious talent. Will, listen, right, Will, this is why I want to have a chat with you about it because
He's gone.
Gaz is absolutely shite at keeping real bonsais alive.
Paint it green, Gaz. You never know.
I was half tempted to do it. I was half tempted to spray it and get some bit of colour to it. But the other one is, I was half tempted to leave it, let it all die off, take all them leaves off, and put it in my tank and make it into a bonsai, and then plant some mosses on it, so that it's a natural growing one that I can't kill because I won't get to water. That was my fear, but I've definitely killed it. Will, so I might have a chat with you, mate, at one point. I'll get in touch with you. Mike G, how you doing, bud? From over the States. Thanks for joining us, mate. You good, man? Seska's Reef and Pond says, hi, everyone. Pond's looking good. Looking good.
Looking quite good.
Yeah. Andy's Koi Puddle says, evening all Koi people. Ain't the Koi evening all that.
Hey.
And that.
What's the and that bit about? What's that mean?
Have you actually had a conversation with Abe?
Does he always have a and that on the end of it?
Yeah.
Right. I thought there must have been something behind it.
Yeah. That. Yeah. It's and that, and yeah, and.
This next one, guys, there's a lot of you out there. More than likely, you're already going to be subscribed along. But Sharpie's Koi Pond is getting seriously close to the 1,000 subscribers. Seriously.
Yes. Come on, let's get him to the 1K club.
If we could help him this evening get to 1,000 subscribers, that would be absolutely fantastic. And I would let me just have
How close is he now, Gaz?
I reckon he's last time I saw it, mate. It was just 900. Is 938. We're probably not going to be able to get him up that much, but if
now we're just subscribed.
There we go.
Nice.
930. Let's have a quick refresh.
Well, we did get Will's Koi to his 100, didn't we? Was it last week or the week before?
We did. You're right, mate. I mean, we're a fair few more. That's asking a lot, but 939 subscribers for Sharpie's Koi Pond. Good content, nice chap, nice family, got some lovely fish. He's been through lots of bits and bats on his pond, and he's well worth a watch. So if you can do us a huge favour, guys, let's see if we can get Sharpie's Koi up to 1,000 subscribers.
I think you like that.
Good man. Thank you very much. I'm sure he would love it, mate. Because it is a buzz when you get up there and you get close. But if any of you aren't subscribed to him, guys, do us a huge favour. Pop round and share him a bit of love.
Yeah, I'm already subscribed.
Yeah, it's just you wish sometimes you could subscribe again, don't you?
Yeah.
Now then, we've got Farmer Koi. We did ask a question later on, just down in a bit. So I will be touching on that one, mate. He said, good evening all, good evening Farmer Koi. And I'm pretty sure when Farmer Koi said, can we use FOC for the clay, for the ingredients that you were talking about?
Can you?
But isn't FOC like Koi Master's Advantage? It's not so much a clay, but a water conditioner.
Could use whatever you like. Not going to do any harm, is it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's an edible product, and you can most of them things you can always dampen down your food and add the clay to as an edible product.
Yeah, you can make up into little pellet-sized paste balls.
Yeah. So, no, I'm far more. I'm sure I saw it in there as a. Yes, they did. Yeah. Can you use FOC? No. FOC knows. All right. Couldn't resist it.
Wasn't me this week.
It wasn't. Mick Lawson says free does. So that means the Karashigoi is free this year. He's just turned or just coming to. There you go. Nice one, bud.
Thanks, mate.
Has you finished building your pond yet? If not, why not? You got Dad who can build it for you. I haven't even started, mate. I'm off. I am. Well, I am going to do it. Tis coming, but I need to see when everybody's available, when everybody's free, mate. Because when we're doing it, it's going to be in one crack. No.
Yeah.
I want my fish in a temporary pond, pumping the water out of the temporary pond into said new pond or temporary pond, and then dig the new pond, line of the new pond, and then be able to get it filled back up and get the filter up and running throughout. I can keep my barrels and my media active and alive by keeping them full of water, so that's not an issue. So if we can do it in a 24-hour period and keep it running, then all I need to do is aerate the water that them fish are in for 24 hours. That's what I'm hoping to do.
Yeah.
We'll see. In between that, I've also got a fence to repair, which I know me and Dad's can smash that out, but it's however much Yorkshire stone we find underneath that goddamn lawn, and coordinate everybody to all be there at the same time. But it will be coming, mate. But no, it's not done yet. It was literally
The stone won't be an issue.
No,
Trust me.
no.
The more you find, the less you got to buy.
The more I find, the less I've got to buy. That's it. Well, the amount that I threw away last time, Vince, I did 4 tip runs. So I'm going to find quite a bit. And
There's no big trees next to it, though, is the Gaz?
no, there's no trees. Even the trees that I've got in my garden, mate, apart from the bush.
You're still getting over the roots from the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was the only thing
none of that.
that was the only thing crossed my mind, Gaz, is the red acer.
Yeah. Go on.
If you're going to come around that acer and leave the acer in situ, is it not red acer leaves that are poisonous to his fish?
I think to be fair, you're going to need a fair quantity of them to make any difference to the water, and it's a tiddler, isn't it, Gaz? It's not.
Well, it's not me. It's still not got above 2 foot tall.
Yeah, but what about the 10 mil square netting that he's got over it?
Yeah, I mean, you're only going to get an odd leaf get through.
I'm never not going to have. Well, Vince, we had a chat this evening when I was talking to you earlier on. I'm never not leaving a no net on my pond, mate. I can't. That Ginger Tom's going to get it one of these days. And if it's not the Ginger Tom that's going to get it, so's the heron. So one of them is going to end up. I might actually insert the heron inside the Ginger Tom and sort of walk together at the same time.
Rob, you say about that. I think it was a year or so ago. I went round to my mum and dad's, and my dad's got a brand new Black Widow catapult on the kitchen side, and I'm like, where'd you get that from? I buy them when I was kid. He went, yeah, I know. He says, you seen what I'm going to use? Took me into the dining room, and he had 8 mil steel ball bearings. And I said, what the fuck are they for? He's going to say, I'm going to stop the cat coming in and having my fucking birds. I said, you can't do that, Dad. It'll go straight through the edge and through someone's fucking window.
we need some Vince muffs.
You do.
Vince, right? Daz, I'm guessing you both had one when you were a kid, because I did.
Yeah,
that's the one that had the strap that went over the top of your arm.
Yeah,
it's like bar.
But then you get that rash up your arm where it come and went.
It misfires, yeah.
That stung like hell, did that when you used to do that. It won't go wrong.
Yeah.
Simon S says, hello, peeps. Simon Shears, this is like, Simon Shears says, hi, always a little Rose. Cheers, bud. Thank you for joining me, guys. Have you saved some baby Deutsche shower? Have you saved me some baby Deutsche shower? I guess that must be a question for Rick.
He didn't want them till they're 6 weeks old, so.
Well, you could have to wait then, Hilsey.
Gary Webb says,
all I can say is that poor Deutsche kid shower male.
He had some work today, didn't he?
Yeah, didn't he just?
It's one day a year. To be fair, I'll do that one day a year.
Yeah, I'm just signing up now.
Considering there's ones on the farm that we've got, he's actually got it on camera saying that some of these don't get sex for 2 years, and I'm like, fucking poor bastards.
We've got a hi everyone. Hope you all having a great week so far. Richard and Sophie, thank you very much. Now, what is that? Is that GW Star Head? What's that one abbreviation for? I'm guessing. Gwen?
Go on.
Gary Webb. Don't know.
Guys, looking forward to the new pond improvements. It looks amazing. Richard and Sophie in Scotland. So I'm guessing this is
That-
Richard and Sophie
Sophie with the exclamation marks.
in Scotland. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you for joining us. Simon says 72 watching but isn't talking. Simon, you blag my head sometimes. We can do the conspiracy thing. I think we're going to post down here later on sometime for something else where we've had that one in already. The next comment, Ricky, is it okay? I tried to. God damn it! Is it okay? I tried to strip my wife and she slapped me across the face. It's perfectly fine, mate. As long as you didn't do
I would expect nothing less.
as long as you didn't do what Vince did and record it for 3 hours.
Yeah.
He didn't anaesthetize her first, did he?
Oh, I'm going to wait till later now.
I should always make sure I read his comments out first before I put them on screen. You always give me. Koi Karma says, send a pic to Gaz. Thank you very much. And yes, I did get your. In fact, I could share it, mate, but it's nice. We'll leave that one. I also got the others on. Why can I never remember that?
Telegram.
Simon Shear says, "What's a DAB?" and then puts up a picture of a radio. No, not a DAB radio. One of them things I did earlier on. Gary Webb says, Heathrow Koi were father and son, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I would imagine there's a fair few father and sons. We think that these two might be the youngest son and father combination. I'm not saying that father and son are the youngest. It's just the youngest son with his father doing this combination.
Yeah, because Kofi don't count because that's granddad and grandson.
Yeah. Now there we go. We got loads of subs already. Fair play.
Sweet.
You can see. Thank you very much, Jigs. Far more coins. Oh, so you've got a ticket as well. So you're going to Secret Sanctuary as well.
Sorry.
Great. That's going to be a good night. It's going to be a good day. MJH Koi says, evening all.
Matt.
Great answer, father to son. That's biblical. Bot conspiracy, Gaz. I'll tell you what, man. This is the reason why I made. I got absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Absolutely not. There we go. We got the question coming in. Have we got anybody? So can we use fork? I know there's probably. There we go. Mum's here to say hi. Thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate it. In case you're wondering, Aaron's other half and Mum Cleo.
The Koi widow.
Oh, that's it. As soon as we come off air, she's going, you're never going on that program again.
Hello, Koi widow. How are you doing?
The Koi widow is going to give you a kick right head, mate. Do you want to tell everybody what you subscribed your wife to the other week, Aaron?
Oh,
No.
He subscribed her up to Pond. So she got that complete post addressed to herself.
Why not send your wife the Pond Keeper Weekly?
I mean, that went down like a lead balloon, didn't it?
We all had a very good video, Vince, that sent the chat of the captain reading it.
She'll love it one day, mate.
Right.
She'll be the boss of the pond.
I'm just going to address this one before we go any further. And this is going to be the first and the last time that I'm going to do it. Gary Webb, also about the mythical as claimed EasyPod optimum flow rate at Simon Shears that don't exist either. LOL. Right. the specification that was shared before came from EA. And is that right? EasyPod, EA? And I believe that information is correct and factual. And I'm not going back down this line again. If we can't play nice and be civil, then you can go right back to where you were, which is blocked and out of the community, mate, because I'm not doing it. I'm not doing the bitching and the arguing and the falling out and the backstabbing. This stops here and now, or otherwise you're gone. Koi runnings. Cool runnings, Koi runnings.
Step, get to the naughty step now if you do it again.
That's the one. That's the one, mate. I don't want any backbiting, any animosity, any crap, any bullshit. The stuff from the past remains in the past. It doesn't need to be brought back to the forefront for people to continue fracturing and arguing over. If you want to fracture and argue, we'll do it elsewhere where it's, well, the rest of the community don't want to hear it and don't want to listen to it. So we'll just leave it there. There's no need to keep going over it and dragging over it.
Gaz, how's the roof, mate?
How's the roof? The roof came out to see us on Saturday to have a look at it, and we provided him with information, and he's looking into getting it sorted, mate. So that's a positive. It's all good so far, mate. Things are going good. It's going the right way. Tozzy Coy says, good evening, guys. Hope everyone is well. Hope you are too, bud. Thanks for joining us, mate.
Good evening.
We've got loads more subs. So I'm guessing these are going to be to just sub to Lloyd. Thank you very much. The gentleman that we were talking about as well, the new channel that's up and coming. Just sent a Koi appreciation video to the server. Thank you very much, Rick and Sophie. Appreciate that. Hopefully we can share that with next week. So tune in. Don't forget, everybody. Send in your Asagi videos, pictures, photos, as we've already said earlier on. Dave says he'll come and help with the dig. Thank you very much, Dave. That means we've got one more person to help and dig away with us, and hopefully we'll be able to carry on and get it definitely smashed out without it. And we put, it's Sophie. Thank you very much. Confirmation. Farmo Koi says, Gads, did you get my 8-year-old Asagi from New Forest Koi, a 60 cm top? I did, mate. Yeah, that's on the Telegram. I believe you sent it on there, mate. Yeah, you did. Yeah, sweet. All right, mate. No problems. But we'll leave it. We'll leave it there, and then nobody's going to take it the wrong way, mate. Because at the end of the day, inevitably, it's me that gets in the ear roll, not yourselves. So, right. First topic of this evening's discussion. Unless, Leo, have you got anything you first of all would like to ask any of the panel? I know you like to do a little bit of an interview thing, mate, which I think is wicked. So is there anybody here or anything here or anybody here or anything you would like to ask anybody here before we move into our first topic and our first conversation?
Well, I've been wanting to say that I can pronounce Yamabuki Ogon now.
Yes, good man. You told me you'd not be able to learn that one, but you did. Good man. What's the next one? Is there any others that you're struggling with? Any other fish that you would like to know what they are and identify? Because we've got an I got it right first time.
We've got this. So
Got the book.
You got the Bible. The Bible.
Oh, yes.
The Bible.
We've got some experts there. If there's any questions,
Leo.
you've interviewed Daz and you've interviewed Gaz. Is there any questions for Vince or Rick?
Can you say Matsukawa-baki?
Matsukawa-baki.
Not bad.
That's close enough. Better
That's
than,
acceptable, that one.
The first time I read it and tried to pronounce it, I had absolutely no idea, mate. First time when I read that, I thought, how the hell do you say that?
Maybe that's the next variety. There you go. That's the next variety. Done. After
That's the next
Asagi.
one. That's the next one.
Right.
Yes. There you go. Picked. Leo.
Easy.
The next one. So next week will be the Asagi. The following week after will be not the following week. The following fortnight after will be the Matsukawa-baki. So all you people out there with a Matsukawa-baki, get them balled up, get a pic. You've got 3 weeks now to get a picture of it. So
It'll change by then. What's the point?
Yeah, it probably will. This is how it looked this week. And it probably will.
You mean unlike your Benny Monroe?
Magic fish, that, isn't it?
I've got quite a few Matsuko backies. I've got small ones from Daz, and I've got a nice, decent one as well of our Brandon's. But that fish, yeah, I love them, mate. They're brilliant.
I've got two from Ricky. I've got a Ginran Matsuko backie, and I've also got a metallic Matsuko backie.
Mine was a Ginrin. Ain't no more. It's just majority body pure black now. And real sumi. The sumi on it it's inky black. Really is.
You say about Ginrin disappearing though. Going back to Ricky's Kage Hitsuri, that fish is actually Ginrin.
Well, I think I don't think so much as it disappeared, Vince. I think that the Ginrin doesn't tend to show up as much on black as what it did on the white. I think it's probably still there, but the pigmentation is now so dark that it's more difficult to catch. You might catch it if you move the fish around and have a look at it.
When you get quite close to it, you can see it under the skin, but to look at visually, you wouldn't think just from looking at it that was a Ginrin Hitsuri.
Yeah, that's it.
It's kind of an age thing as well, though. It's one of those. It looks good when they're young and loses its shine as we go.
What does the Ginrin go on a Hitsuri?
Pardon?
What colour? What pattern? Do you know on the red and black? I'm talking. Where is the Ginrin on them?
Right through, straight through.
Oh, everything from all colour.
Right through the black, the orange, the heat, whatever. So yeah, and it then tends to be stronger with younger fish, and then as they get older and older, that shine slowly dissipates. So yeah, in a 20-year-old fish, you can barely see it, but that's where the Ginrin comes from him. So when you breed it, the offspring will still have the same, Ginrin qualities when they're younger. But yeah, there's so many. Once you start getting so many layers of types of Ginrin, all the different colour, it gets a bit crazy.
You really see it well in the black then.
On settling younger ones you will, and it right through, and you get it right. Good ones will be maybe 5 scales down the body as well. So it's literally the whole top of the body right the way through is good strong Ginrin on them. But again, the males tend to show it better. The males tend to show the sumi better when they're younger as well. So a lot of the better Hitsuris, when you look at them small, are the males, whereas the females, again, are the ones that grow bigger and look better long term. So you get differences. So with Shiritsuri, for example, males, no one wants a male because you tend to get the yellowy head. But with Hitsuri, males look so much better. They just look so much better all the time. It's just one of those quirks of variety. What looks better in terms of color quality, body shape. The downfall of a Shiro is the yellowy face in a male, whereas you don't get that in a Hitsuri. You get a much stronger sumi. You tend to get more vibrant color, and they're such big, strong body shape fish anyway that the males tend to actually look pretty good. So, if you were picking a Hitsuri, you probably want to be picking a male. And if you're picking a Shiritsuri, you probably want to be picking a female.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those weird quirks, and it goes with a lot of varieties. Some suit others, better than others.
So spinning that on its head, go to the Kitsuri. What would you be looking for at a young age for a Kitsuri?
To be honest, I've had so little experience with Kitsuri that they're such an old school variety that the sumi doesn't hold whenever you bowl them or do anything with them. they're such a difficult sell. They're such a difficult product to get hold of. There's so few farms that produce them that, they're just not. They're not something high on our agenda to do. Good examples do look nice, but from a business point of view, they're not. I think some of the best ones coming out of Japan are still being produced by an old couple that have been producing them for donkey's years. No one else does, and they do. And no one's really refined it. No one's really followed that path to create a better example, as it were. So you
when you just mentioned the black, now that people are when you actually see the videos that we put out from the hand spawning, you were saying about the Kinshower, the Deutsch Kinshower, and the black.
Yeah.
Now, early hours of the morning, when we pulled that out of the pool for the first time, the Sumi on it was real deep dark, because I was showing Susan when I was looking through the video earlier. And then you look at that Kinshower male at 9 o'clock this morning, and that Sumi had almost disappeared. And like you're saying, that's because it was in that blue pool that it's done that.
They naturally react to the light levels and the background. So any carp will, and a normal carp will change its background, change its color to suit its background and the light levels to avoid predators. So
That's pretty cool.
So that's what they do. So it's almost, So a normal carp, if you've got it in clear water with a dark background, it will be jet black. But you put it in a clay pond or a light coloured water, and it will change within minutes. It will completely change colour. So that ability to change is still in some koi varieties to this day, and that Sumi in those Deutsch varieties, those metallic varieties, is there. So as soon as you got it in clear water in a dark pond, the black is amazing. And if there's no sun in the early morning, it's still good. And as soon as the light comes out and it's a blue light background, it will just disappear, and it will come and go literally that quickly. Whereas
that would explain that key up series that I got, Gaz, where all the Sumi disappeared off it practically. And then,
it did, when you put it in the pond tunnel.
Then when I put it back in the pond, it all came back.
It's really volatile. So that's where the Shearer series, the good quality ones, when you put them in a bowl, the black doesn't change. Whereas the poor quality ones, the black changes immediately, and you can sort of weigh up good versus bad for that, the way it behaves. But there's lots of varieties. Ochibas do it. When you you get a lot of them that are very, very dark, and then you put them in a different environment and they will change to a much lighter, and you can see the pattern, they look lovely. And then you move them back into a dark pond again in terms of dark background and clear water, and they will go almost black and disappears. And it will happen in a matter of minutes, let alone hours. There's all sorts of tricks. There's all sorts of things you can do. But show vats, if you want to show a Kietsuri or King Kietsuri or a Deutsch Kinshower, and it looks amazing in your pond, but the minute you put it in a blue show vat, it's just all that essence of deep Sumi's gone. And that's just, you can breed it out with enough generations, but there's not enough people doing it. The varieties haven't had the work done on them as other varieties have. So
that's why you don't see so many of them at shows then.
They don't look good at shows, do they? Basically. And if a breeder's not put in the time to create a stable Sumi on certain varieties, and it's difficult, it's a real issue. A Kinky at series in the right pond, amazing metallic yellow and black. Look like bumblebees swimming around your pond.
Exactly.
And then you put them in a show vat and they look sort of kind of diarrhea. It's kind of it kind of So it takes a breeder to say, well, I'm going to spend 5 generations of earning no money on that variety to make it more stable and better for that show environment or whatever. But is it necessarily better for other environments? Yeah, it's one of those. It's a question that, yeah, you kind of all need to ask, isn't it? Are you trying to make a fish better to be in a blue vat, or are you trying to make a fish better to look nice all the time, or are you? Yeah, where's the money? Where's the business? Where's what you're trying to do? There's no point making it have the most amazingly stable sumi in a blue vat, but actually won't grow beyond 25 centimeters, or kind of. You've got to balance things up, and yeah. So yeah, the key at series is just something that we have had some, and we just can't sell them as young fish. They're just so kind of insipid.
Yeah,
you're fighting a losing battle, and we haven't got time to do 4 generations to make them look better at younger sizes. So you just have to follow a path that suits your business and what you're trying to do.
You do well though.
Also, you won't do it, but
Kawabakis, though, don't you? You do them. Yours are nice quality fish, are them?
yeah, but they look amazing from very young, and you'll have amazing sumi, and they can look really good, but they will change.
For example, as they are there. Reason why I thought I'd just drop in on that one is obviously farmer Tony says I wouldn't know if I have one or not. Well, there you go, mate. There's quite a few examples of a Matsukawabaki.
A lot of people don't associate Matsukawabaki, but a Matsukawabaki is a scaled Komonru. So when you buy a Komonru, you know that black's going to change from color, from temperature to color and everything else. And that's the same for a Matsukawabaki. It's just a scaled version of the Komonru.
So there you go, mate. If you've got anything that resembles something similar to these, you've got one.
They're one of the varieties that I really like, but
yeah, me too.
They're really, from a business point of view, they're not great because you got one looking good, you photograph it, you move it to another pond, and you can't even find it. It's just changed. You're like, oh, got to send another photo to the customer now because they might have liked that pan, but it's not the same fish anymore. That's the joy of them, but it's also the downside of them. And the same, but you get some that are really stable that just don't really change. But yeah, you do. I suppose that's the beauty of it. There's so many genetic variants that one little cross with the parents, and they do completely different things. So yeah, it's never ending. And this is, if we go back to the whole we were chatting earlier about the koi shows done by AI, and so everyone can enter a koi show with photography across the world, and a artificial intelligence makes judgment upon the fish, and it's like across the board on a set of rules and whatever. But yeah, that's a variety that's Kahaku are quite stable. You could technically do it with AI, but you go to other varieties like that, and you're in a whole world of different.
Yeah. For those that need to catch up a second, what Ricky's talking about is what was discussed on Koi Wholesale's Live last night. That there is actually someone in Japan that is actually configuring this AI to be able to do judging by a computer via photos and videos.
For koi show, and again, there's a massive positive because everyone in the world can compete in a koi show without having to take the fish out their garden.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But then you're relying on artificial intelligence. And what last night I heard my partner having an argument with our Alexa for about 25 minutes.
It's like add butt plug to shopping list.
Alexa, turn off.
Koi is going to bed now.
Oh, sorry, mate.
He's
Guys,
fallen.
that's twice.
Sorry,
Take it
Leo.
out.
I apologize, mate.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much for
Hello,
joining us,
mate.
buddy. I appreciate it.
I've got to go and check my little boy's actually in bed as well now.
Yeah, well, you go
Eyes around
check.
the corner.
While you go check, we'll go through a couple of the quick questions that we've got, and we'll start the. Oops, I forgot Leo over there. No.
But yeah,
No.
if honestly, guys, watch last night's live from Koi Wholesale. It might be on the Koi Talk channel, not the Koi Wholesale channel, but it's the live that Ricky done last night chatting with Joe. Yeah, they're
All about it.
all about it. Yeah, just honestly, a real good in-depth chat about. And Ricky gave both, from his point of view, the pros and the cons.
Well,
How
I
would
can
you
see
with
the
Photoshop?
pros. Go on, Daz.
So how would you go on if people are photoshopping the
Exactly.
picture?
That's what I would. That's one of my things. That's what I was going to say. You can see the pros. The pros that everybody would be able to get involved in. The
Yeah.
cons would be people that would cheat, alter,
There's
and
always going to be people
manipulate
trying to cheat.
fish.
Yeah, and this is one of the things Ricky was saying. For someone that has got a really beautiful fish in their pond, but hasn't got the confidence to bag it, transport it, and everything else, and then you've got the worry that something doesn't happen while it's at the koi show.
Yeah.
For someone like that, or someone like myself who will not take their fish to somewhere like that because of that reason, then it's an ideal opportunity to be able to put yourself against people that do. Can you see what I mean? To see where you're benchmarking in the hobby itself.
Yeah. It's when money comes in.
It's
you know, if
open
there's
to
a prize.
exploit that. If you think how much money people pay to have prize-winning koi in Japan, and to have AI decide, I wouldn't like to think people cheat at computer games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's really, it's not going to be hard
Mr.
with the
Trump.
money that people invest in a top quality koi to do that, to have a program running in the background while you're uploading it.
Yeah.
You mean at some point they're going to have to? I mean, it's all traditional methods, isn't it? And everything's superseded the internet, the highway, everything that we do. Everything is online, and at some point, the vast majority of things will go to being just that. So you can see why they're trying to get into it. You can understand why, but like you said, there's hackers.
Joe said last night, and said exactly the same as we said when we said about doing the Deutsche Amateurnische Gig Grind show. Now, the judging is going to be done by a photograph and a video. So the selection was done by a photograph. And this is what Joe was saying. There is so many people in the world now that are buying fish and choosing to buy fish from pictures and videos. In some ways, it's the next logical step.
Yeah. But we all do it, don't we? I mean, we do. Us lot do it this regular. We're always looking at fish in photographs, koi, whatever, you name it. We flick through everything of fish. And if you see something that takes your fancy, I'd never click and buy. I'd want to see the fish in person first before I went, because there's so many times I've looked at fish online and thought, that looks nice. And then when you get there, you think, that's not the same fish.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't look like
that's a massive problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
Our business now is probably 80% people buying online from just seeing pictures. So we have to try and make those pictures
as relevant and as recent as they are.
In fact, even almost worse than they are. Yeah. So when you get the fish, you're like, oh, that's better than expected. Not like, oh, that's not what I was. So, but yeah, it's a tricky one. But at the end of the day, if you want to compete in koi shows, but you don't want to move your fish, it's an option.
That's it for me. That's the big scare for me.
Just for me, yeah.
Bagging them up, moving them, shipping them, or you come back and it's jumped out of that overnight kind of thing, or whatever. I'd be crapping myself. I really would. But I ain't got anything good enough to show in my opinion. But it would be. I mean, if I got some of these fish that some of those guys out there have gone out and spent, $2 grand, $3 grand, $4 grand plus, whatever, some of the prices are crazy. I would be sleepless nights sat there thinking, right, tomorrow I'm bagging that thing up and I'm taking it to the show. I'm sticking it in there, and everything from that point there could just go wrong, just like that. I mean, there's nothing
Look
to
at
say.
that one meter chagoi broke its tail at the quiz show.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a stunning fish, beautiful, grand size, massive, great big fish. Ended up
ruined. Really.
Yeah,
never be the same again.
And we've all
that's the risk you take when you move anything, though, isn't it? Yeah.
We buy a fish from somewhere like you, and we take it home, and we acclimate it. We do all the things right as we should do, and you drop it in your pond. We've all had it happen at some point. I mean, I've had it in tropicals. I've never had it in koi yet, but I've had it in tropicals where I've brought them home, put them in, acclimated them, done everything right, come back 10 minutes later. They've had this twice, and that fish has been bellied up, dead.
Yeah, twice with koi. Yeah.
Or I've put fish in where they've literally ended up inside the belly of another fish within seconds of going in tank, and you think, well, that's that gone. That was an expensive meal for them, said angelfish. 15.
Yeah, isn't it?
Blue neon tetras, gone. Just like that. And all you can see is like eyes glowing in the belly. But it does happen though, doesn't it? You pick up a fish. I've seen a couple of the little ones when I first brought them back, and I've seen some of the bigger fish going up there behind them thinking, oh, you were very nearly breakfast then. You better grow quick because I can't catch you again. Now, right, one of the first topics I would like to bring up this evening is the importance, and this is the reason why I'm going to tell you this, guys, because I have had some shit luck this week. And I nearly had a real lot of shit luck this week. I had, and I do have, one of my pond pumps connected up to a shut-off valve. Whether that be a floating pond one or whether it's inside your system, I want to bring up the topic so that people can learn from my cock-up and my mistake. Now, I was lazy. I did something stupid that I really shouldn't have done. And it's a lesson that I want other people out there to learn from my mistake. I decided to add 200 grams of pH up. And I thought, it's late. I want to get in. I've done my water change. I want to add it. I want to get it in quick. So I dropped it in my moving bed. Not the best of ideas at all. It was fine while we were out there. Not an issue. When I came home the following day, my pond had frothed up inside my moving bed that much, or the pond water had frothed up inside the moving bed that much, that it had started to bubble over and overflowed and flooded the inside of my shed. 2 lessons could be learned from this. The first one being is that I need an overflow system fitting to said chamber so that returns back to the pond and doesn't happen again. The second one being is that one I'd realised I've been meaning to do this for months and months and months since I've basically put the new filter system in, and that's to connect my main master pump up to the shut-off valve because I didn't have. And when I got home, just looking at this, it started happening. It must have started happening as I was travelling home. When I got home, I was down to probably about 9 or 10 inches of water left in my pond. Almost completely pumped my pond dry. If I'd have had them both shut off, they would have shut off where they would have been, and I'd have just lost this much water. And the valve would have dropped in the water level, and it would have shut off my pumps. There'd have been aeration still in the pond. Everything would have been all right. I'd have drove home, come in, realised that everything had shut off, found the problem, rectified it. As it happens, I was left with that much water in the pond, which is so goddamn lucky. 1, because my new fish. 2, all my own fish. 3, fish that I'm holding for somebody else. So those kind of mistakes will never be made again because I'm not just risking mine, I'm risking Mr. Tropical Koi's as well. I could have kicked myself up the arse for it. The other one is having that fitted in, it would have shut off and it would have well, I could have not lost the free fish that I did. Now, the free fish that I lost are only little fingerlings, but because they're small enough to get up behind the back of the said plant pots, which it could have been my Mark Gardner's koi, because that one's likes to hang around in there. Occasionally, the Yamatonoshki likes to hang around in there, but they always come out and feed regular now. They're not hiding in there, staying in there permanent like they were. But I had a little Tancho shower, a little lemon harawaki, Vince, a lemon harawaki.
No.
Yeah, gutted me. And also a magoi, which was from dads that were, they were all little ones that I were hoping to get to grow on. And unfortunately, because they were up there, I think they must have stayed up there as long as they could. The pond emptied, 8,000 litres an hour. It doesn't take long to drop that pond pretty damn quick. And then there's the other pump that's pumping away as well. So I lost them free fish. When I came in, I thought, right, pond's emptied, it's dumped a load of water. I'm going to have to do something. So I always start by giving the back of the plant pots a swill out because I know fish hang around in there. And in case there's anything just behind there, and I rinse it out and outwash the free fish dead. I was absolutely pissed off at myself. So the importance of fitting some form of shut-off valve. If you haven't got one fitted on your ponds, guys, if you haven't got one fitted to your filter system, get one fitted. Learn from my mistake. First of all, don't put bicarb or pH buffer directly into your moving bed because it just turned it into a froth and all it did was overflow, pumped out. My system's running that way, so I mean, I'm not saying that everybody else's would do, but with what I've got and how I'm running mine, it was a stupid thing to do. Mix it up in a bucket, put it in your pond. That way then it's dispersed around a lot of water volume and spread out rather than it all just being concentrated and bubbled up and fizzed up and frothed up inside my filter. I know it would have flushed through eventually, but in that time scale where it didn't, that was the results from this week's issues that I've had at home. Am I upset at myself for it? Yeah, I am. Pretty damn pissed off, but
It happens.
It happens to everyone, one way or another.
I'm not saying, no, you guys would never do it. You might do it, and then, hopefully somebody's going to think, right, what happens if my pond pumps itself dry? Have I got anything to shut it off? If you haven't, get one fitted, guys, because it's a needs must when your bottom,
Yeah, the float switches aren't expensive. What, 15 quid or something like that?
Exactly. So that's the first topic that I wanted to bring up. It's more of a do as I say, not as I did, not as a case. I'm trying to help other people out so you don't have that. If I'd have lost them fish out there, I would have been gutted, absolutely gutted, and it was a stupid, silly mistake to make, and something I shouldn't have done. But hopefully, you guys can learn from that and get one fitted to your ponds if you haven't. So that's the first one. That's the first topic. Not really so much a discussion because everybody knows that Gaz were a dick and shouldn't have done it. So, and it should have been connected up. I've just put it off and then forgot about it. And it's not till your pond pumps itself empty that you realise that you haven't got it. Now both of them are connected up to the switch. If it drops 4 to 5 inch, a pond's going to shut off. There's plenty of water there. They still get aeration. They've not got circulation of water, but they still get aeration, so everything should be good. Lesson learned. Second one, what we've got is somebody sent me out this week, and I thought it was a good idea and a good topic that we should talk about, and we should have a chat about. And the thing is, it's from Mrs. One Chris, as I'm not 100% sure that's your YouTube name and who you are. Why is it the norm to fit a UV after a filter? Surely it makes more sense to fit it before the filter, destroying the algae first, and then it's collected directly into your filter straight after, rather than it ejecting back into the pond and needing to be cycled back through. Now, for me, both my UVs are before my filter.
Yeah, mine is.
So,
yeah.
I'm not so sure it is the norm to fit it afterwards or whether there's one or the other which is right or wrong. So to the panel guys,
there's no right or wrong. The whole point after the filtration, you've got clearer water, so the UV will work better because it's only dealing with the algae, not everything else. The other side of the coin is lots of good bacteria will be coming out of your filter that will be colonizing in the pond that the UV is killing off coming out of the filter. So there is no right or wrong. And yeah, we don't. To be fair, we don't use it. We don't use a great deal. Some ponds, if you get the balance right, UVs are. You don't necessarily need them. Most koi ponds, yes, you do, because they are very much a big clear pot of water in the sun that is going to need a UV. But if you've got a lot of debris in the water, then the UV is not going to penetrate fully through the water. So if it's before you filter, it's not going to work properly. If it's after you filter, you'll be killing off beneficial bacteria that are coming out your filter, as well as the algae, and you've still got to take the algae. So every Japanese farm that use UVs generally are not in an inline system. They're just hung over a part of the settlement chamber or a part of the filtration as you'd hang a normal light.
Yeah.
They use it in a different manner. I don't think there's a right or a wrong. It depends on your pond situation and how clear you're running your pond, the type of UV you're using, in terms of, is it a small bore flow one where you're putting it through pipe, or have you got a big one where you're putting it through a 4-inch pipe, or again,
well,
it's not as simple as before or after. It's just what is going to suit your situation better.
I got my main pond 3,000 gallons, and I've got a 13-watt aquarium UV in my mechanical filtration. It's actually in the outer rim of my Easy Pod.
Yeah,
See,
and it works for you.
Mine's pumped from the bottom drain through the pump, because that's dry mounted on the inside of the shed, through the pump, through the UV, through the filter, and returns. I have two on mine, running on mine. I have the secondary filter system, which is on the outside of the shed, which when the big pond's done, that's going to be hopefully getting moved inside the shed. That one runs through my filter barrel, from the pond, through my filter barrel, out the filter barrel, and into a little sunken sponge box, which is like my polisher. This is what I use for polishing. But before it goes through those sponges, it passes through a little 9-watt UV, which is just built into the lid, and then through the sponges and returns. So both of mine are before the filter, even on a little box system that's already done, as is my UV in the mini pond, through the filter, through the UV, and back to the pond. So I always thought that that's the way they should be, because the two little systems that I had came set up that way. So and that's why I did the bigger one on my new system.
You got the other side of it as well. If you're gravity feeding your filter system, you can't put the thing beforehand, because if you're gravity feeding your filter system, you're either gravity feeding 3 or 4 inch, and most UVs are 1.5 inch and have to be pump driven to push the water through them.
Yeah, no, some of the big, So you do get, So you get 4-inch ones as well. So it depends on what. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they'll fit wherever. So you can buy. Ours you do 4-inch ones that go before all your setup on 4-inch pipe from the bottom drain or whatever. But I don't think it makes so much difference. At the end of the day, you win on one hand and you lose on the other. If it's before a filtration system, you've got more debris in the water, so it's not as effective. And if you've got it after the filtration, you'll be killing off beneficial bacteria that are coming out of the filter that will be colonizing in and around the pond anyway. So swings and roundabouts. It's just where it suits your setup. If you're running a 1.5 inch one and you're running a gravity system, then it's got to go after the pump.
Yeah.
And yeah, it does its job. Most ponds go around so many times. It's not really a great concern, is it? It works if it's the right size UV for the pond. It's set out right. Yeah.
Definitely.
We see what few people have. We've got a couple of comments from in there as well. I see what everybody else has an opinion on. Tony says, obviously, this is referring to, which again is wrong, mate. Unfortunately, that should not happen with a gravity-fed system. It can, and it does. And there's many on YouTube that have shown you a couple of hundred fish where it's exactly happened, mate. It only takes for a flexi hose or a rubber boot to split, burst, leak, and your pond will pump itself completely empty, mate.
Yeah,
does happen, can happen. Now, obviously, regardless if that thing does happen from a split boot or a rubber or whatever you want to class them as, that or a joint or a coupling, that kind of thing's never going to be able to be avoided because that's just going to gravity feed itself completely out. So just because you're gravity fed doesn't mean the pond can't completely empty itself. They can, mate.
Look,
it's been shown.
Danny's koi channel.
Exactly, mate. That's
yeah.
the way. You lost 300 fish because of exactly that. I know it's not the same, but
Rubber boot went on the bottom drain line.
Fitting a shut-off valve for him wouldn't do, but I would imagine if your pump cocks up or your filter blocks up and you're away on holiday for 2 weeks, you never know. It could be the case that something goes wrong and it starts it's drawing it out, pumping it out, can't pump it out quick enough, and it just, shit sometimes happens. There we go.
Hey, Tony.
It has happened, mate, but not in the same sense. Not in the same sense as me with a pump in the bottom or a dry fit.
I thought he had man flu.
So can, but slightly different.
Well, in my case, Gaz, there's no way my gravity-fed pond would go right down to the bottom because the pump is pumping from the nexus, and the inlet to the nexus is at a height that once that nexus is pumped out, it's left all of that water at that level in the pond.
Yeah.
You'll just end up with a burnt out pump if you're not around.
Yeah.
But it just won't pump the whole pond out.
But that's your pond.
Yeah, but I agree. That's the difference. Setup. Your filter system higher than the pond.
Yeah, that's the difference. If you've got your pond set up slightly different, then you could have. But I get ideally what I was trying to put across is for anybody that's not got a bottom drain in the pond, that's running off a pump fed system from perhaps maybe just a pump submerged in the pond with a basket on or a chamber, to filterize and take it out, or whether you've up to same as me, a retro bottom drain. If you are pump fed and your pump is in your pond, it's one of them things. It can happen to the best of us. It only takes for your easy pod to crack.
Either that or put the pump on a couple of bricks so it's about 8 inches above the bottom of the pond. Yeah. That way you'll always guarantee if it pumps out, then it's going to stop 8 inches below the bottom. So you're still going to have 8 inches of water to keep your fish safe until you manage to sort it.
Yeah, well,
that's how mine was initially.
That's the thing with the retro bottom drains. If the retro bottom drain has had the fitting kit put in properly, it comes with a little nipple on the top, and that little nipple is an air hole, so that when it gets to that point, then the pump draws and just sucks air in, and then that's it. It pumps. But my pond pump, when it's running dry, when it recognises that it's running dry, it shuts off. So it would have never got to anything less than, the retro bottom drain. But all the same, it's weather's warming up. If that had been in a couple of weeks, height of summer, a lot of fish in pond, not a lot of water, that's still a recipe for, I'd much rather it got them and shut off at that depth, loss of water, than shutting off at 30 inch of loss of water.
Well, some people with retros, and their pump is at high level, as it were, pumping from that retro, they'll drill a hole in that pipe, say 3 feet from the bottom.
That's exactly what I did.
Yeah, and
You know,
when
you
the
put the
water's
water
been
on
pulled to that level, it just starts pulling air in instead of water.
Yeah, that's what mine did, mate. But mine had got to that point where the top of the retro bottom drain had sucked itself completely dry, stopping the pond pump from running. But what I really wanted it to do is having it hooked up to the system so that once that float valve on the top of the surface drops just to that, it shuts it off. So I only lose. Well, it's just like giving it a service in a water clean, a weekend, rather than losing a full pond.
Who's Alexa doing crackers?
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Alexa, that might be Rick's. But yeah,
Alexa off, haven't you?
Alexa, reminder: send Gaz 150 fry for free. God damn it! Gary Webb says there on a pump fed UV before the filter, on a gravity fed UV after the filter.
Yep.
Sorry, that was my AI just gone mental. I have no idea.
Oh, actually, Rick, by the way, I've managed to count all my fry now. So the first lot in one aquarium, you had it bang on 500. But the other aquarium, it's only 499. So can you send me the other one overnight?
Turns out that's all you paid for.
No, they're doing very well.
Good. I should hope so.
What we want here, mate. Are they getting some growth on them, some size to them? Getting some growth already?
They're growing, all right, yeah. Yeah.
Tony's been thinking of steroids.
As long as they're all doing all right.
No,
yeah, they're doing very well. As I say, you can start seeing quite a lot of the patterns on the dare I say it, the darker ones. The yellow ones, I've got not a clue what they're going to be. But yeah, they're good.
Fun and games of it. You know what the parents are, so we'll see.
See what they produce.
Yeah. I was thinking of trying to do your special mix, Ricky, sort of on a small scale. Oh dear.
Than the 9 cups of food. That's a hell of a lot of food, that, Rick. 9 cups of food a day. There's about saying that there's a lot of fish in there, isn't it? It's the biggest.
There's a lot of fish in there, Gaz.
There's more than one Yamatanoski in there, though.
Yes, there is.
No, it's switching out.
You can tell because
I seen
it went
straight away.
that way.
Yeah. To be fair, I'd selected the ones I wanted to keep. So the one I've kept for the grow and show was it was an afterthought. It was like, well, if they're doing it, I better do it. And I got pick number 30 out of 30, didn't I? So
you got what was. So the other ones are in there. That's your own experiment as well as
technically. The other 300 or whatever in there should be better than that one because they were the ones I'd picked as the best rather than the one that was left somewhere else. But yeah, it was doing really well, but it did get very fat very quick. But then it hadn't been in that environment, so we'll see. It's definitely put on some weight. I think Tony's been doing well with his. They were looking all right, but then he moved it. So who knows?
I've moved them and I haven't been able to see them since, but when they was in the aquarium, they really grew well. Yeah.
But the whole point is it will be interesting, won't it? They're all in so many different environments. People have put them straight into ponds, unheated with big fish. Some people have got them, Tony, in an aquarium that was heated. I've chucked mine in with 300 other tozai. You know, they've gone so many different places. They'll be fed so many different foods. They'll go through so many different temperature zones, and regimes. At the minute, as far as I'm aware, every single one's alive and doing okay, which is
Yeah, mine's
way
looking
better
good.
than I could have hoped for.
He's proper up there and in there. You got smashing mealworms this evening. Absolutely
So-
going nuts for him. You like them? Proper did go for him.
Yeah.
Funny to see a little fish swimming around with someone almost the same size of his gob, but it did look comical.
But they've been put there. They're all going through a completely different. It's not like they're all being grown in the same way. They've been grown in totally different ways.
Yeah, exactly.
So when
Best
we,
bit about it though, isn't it?
yeah, so when we look at the photos in another few months, it'd be like, oh yeah, let's not grow them that way again because that didn't work. But slow and steady is the best way, or keep them in the aquarium, or do whatever. Yeah, that's fun of it, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
We can all laugh at Vince when his is still 10 centimeters long.
Yeah.
I got a sneaky suspicion I might fall more in that category. And
All right.
fish out my pond. So I need to move some on. So Mike, we need to get some dates sorted out. Just to give me some more space back in there and the new pond, and hopefully, yeah, they'll start getting some growth this summer. Simon Shears says, dirty water first and end clean, no brainer. George from Wakefield Coy says, works either way. Certainly does. Crafty Coy says, UV before filter off pump fed, UV after filter is gravity fed. That's the correct way.
That's the most sensible,
That's the most common way.
most common and sensible way.
yeah,
That's the easiest way.
I'm not sensible though. Mine's just off the skimmer. But most of the algae gathers at the top of the pond where it gets most sunlight coming through. So I figure it's skimming all that algae through and through the UV, and it's fine. It works. But I don't have it.
If it works, doesn't it? As long as it's working and it's keeping it clear, that's it.
To be honest, I don't have it on all the time either. I only put it on if there's liable to be an algae bloom, really. You know, what's the point of running it when it's not got to do anything?
And the gentleman
For
who
me,
asked the
it's
question,
13 watts, so it's it's neither here nor there really.
that's what I mean. Mine's not. Mine's a tiny little thing, mate. Both mine. One's a 9 watt, and the other one's 15 watt. So
Yeah.
I just left the other one in, and it's still doing its job, still working. So pond's still staying clear. So yeah,
Mine's 110 watt.
way too big than what you need, mate.
Probably
How big your pond, litre? How many litres?
22,000.
22,000 litres. You don't need 110 watt.
No,
That's why he switches it off half the time.
that's why I switch it off most of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people go too big with them, but are they? As long if you can afford to run it and it's not and that's not an issue, then at the end of the day, you're making sure you're definitely keeping on top of it. But yeah, mix. That's like mix UV that he's got on his pond. 19,500 litre pond, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mick, but I think his is something like 150 watt UV.
Yeah.
Massively overkill, man. You don't need to be nowhere near that.
But I'm running 3,000 gallons, and I've got a 13 watt UV running.
But to be fair, you get different types of UV as well. Some of them are for germicidal properties as well. So you're not. So normal UVs are just for algae, but you also get UVs to actually destroy everything.
Yeah.
Viruses, bacteria, whatever. So if you're running a series
good,
and then you want,
So if you're a UV clarifier is what clears your water. UV sterilizer just nukes everything.
Annihilates everything.
but a lot of ponds run like that as well. So yeah, and again, it's horses for courses of what you want, isn't it? In terms of what you're trying to achieve. So yeah, whether you run 110 watts and you only run it one day a week, if that works, then it's still probably cheaper than running 55 watts continuously, isn't it? Well, it is cheaper. It's no brainer. But yeah.
And then you've got the other one there that Simon Shear says, I use UV They
Amalgam.
call it
Amalgam UV, yeah.
Amalgam UV, yeah. Those are the ones those ones are bad though, aren't they? Because those actually alter the structural integrity of plastics as well as, because they're quite strong, aren't they? You've got to have them in certain UV stable plastics. If for example, if you put them in your EasyPod, they will knack your EasyPod, and then that'll end up buggering it up.
Yeah.
Aren't they the ones that are very often fitted to drums?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, they're more sterile. Yeah. So, but again, it's one you can't get in an art. It's discussing about things where you haven't got all the details, have you? So,
Crafty Coy, we're a super chat. Thank you very much, Crafty. Appreciate that, mate. Have an half on me. Thank you very much, mate. Will do. Cheers, bud. Appreciate it, mate. DT Coy says, I had the same problem 2 winters ago. 4-inch return moved 3 millimeters and dropped 98% of the water. Big lesson learned. Yeah, that's a lot of water in your pond as well, mate. That's the only plus side to mine doing what it did is I've been putting treatment in. So that treatment needed to come out anyway. So having a good water change, slightly more than what we're supposed to be doing, but I was saying I've got, I was going to be doing a water change. I was going to be doing a flush out on the Monday and on the Tuesday. It just happened so that it got way more than what it really should have been. But fingers crossed, everybody's good so far. So yeah.
And right now.
But it's now connected up. My son-in-law to be, Chance, came out.
Chance.
Yeah, that's his,
He hasn't asked. He's not asking tonight, is he?
This is literally his name. It's his name. His name's Chance. And when it's like when he rings up a takeaway, he has to turn around and say, "Can I have whatever delivered to this address?" And my name's John. Because whenever he turns around and says, "What's your name?" It's Chance. Huh? What's your name? Chance. My name's Chance. Just put Steve, mate, or whatever. So he just makes up a random name every time he orders anything because nobody believes that he's telling the truth. Well, yeah, he's appreciate the live chat, Crafty. The super chat, mate. He came out for me last night, and our Ted. So there were me, Ted, and his dad outside in garden, and he got it all sorted out, connected up and wired up, and sorted out for me. So cheers, bud. Appreciate it, mate. I guess
I had a leak on my pond this week. I said Vince saw it, didn't you, Vince?
That wasn't just a little leak, though, was it, Tony?
I know. What you saw was after I pumped a lot of water out of the pond. That's why it looked that bad. But no, when I built the pond, I had like a spindrift type bottom drain that I didn't have a spindrift bottom half to it, if you know what I mean. So there was not the extra air pipe to go to it. So I ended up shoving a hose pipe down the 4-inch to get to the spindrift, but I wanted to fit it below the 4-inch ball valve going into the Nexus. So I bored a hole in the side of the 4-inch pipe, and I put a threaded union through it and fitted the hose pipe to that on each side. Well, over 17 years, that's rotted out now, and it was leaking, if you like, just below the boot of the Nexus. So I had to lower the water level right down there so I could mend it without water gushing out at me. Great job.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's an interesting one. The UV on a timer. How many people since the price increases have decided to switch theirs off on a night?
Yeah,
That's not a bad idea, though, that, mate. That's not a bad idea at all. It's not something I've ever even given a second thought to. But when you say that, I mean,
mine's on 24 hours a day, but like that there, he's doing that.
It doesn't need to be, does it?
And it being on a night?
Yeah, you could run it when it's cheaper electric if you're on economy 7. Is that still a thing? Economy 7? I don't know.
Fucking hell, man.
I'd love to be on that.
Now you are showing your age, Ricky.
It's still cheaper at night, isn't it? No?
Fuck,
think-
it
I
can't
think
be
so, yeah.
separate.
For a lot of companies, yeah. So you would have the option of running it through the night and being off through the day. Yeah, I suppose, yeah. But I'm guessing for Hillsley, he's got his UV on a timer for 3 hours a day, and that's keeping it at bay, and it's working. So again, I mean, only what we got here.
Yeah, but at the same time, what position is the pond?
It is.
Has he got a kebab?
Finally, for once, guys, I'm going to get to have my own back. Chips. As you were, gentlemen. It's not so often I ever eat online, but when I do,
Does his trifle come out in a minute?
you probably will.
Now he's already had trifle.
Bless Leo. That's what he wanted to ask Daz if he had a trifle.
There you
Not
go.
tonight, I'm afraid, no. I'll just check just to make sure.
1,252 gallons running on a 15 watt UV.
Gallons.
18 watts in an easy pod. Oh, 110 watts UV on a 20k with 20k with filament. Yeah, not 20k. So 110 overkill. Well,
I've been told mine's overkill.
But then if you're going to run it, if you can run it 3 hours a day or whatever, then you're better off running 110 watt. So you're killing the algae for that shorter period and not paying the cost long term.
Yeah.
As long as it's not your whole system, you're shutting down and just 3 hours a day. Because we still get people come in that shut their stuff down at night because it's too noisy and stuff like that. And yeah. So yeah.
Well, some people shut it down during the winter, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have turned mine off. This year is the first year that I've not turned my filter system off with it being indoors, and I left them running. And we got down to -4. Never had a problem at all. Everything continued to run just as it should do. But years gone by, I've always switched my UV off. I've always just left the air on and just switched the pumps off and just let them do what they need to do. And it always worked. But this year, I left everything going and running, even with some of the bad snow that we got. Never had an issue at all, even with those cold temps. Nothing, no problems, just left it running. But I left everything running. I haven't seen a great deal of difference in electric costs, personally, for myself. It's more expensive than what it was, but yeah, I don't think what I'm running in the pond makes a great deal of difference to what I already was doing year before.
I honestly think I'm spending more on water than I am electric.
Mm.
I'm not surprised. I mean, how many ponds have you got now? 1, 2, 3,
4
4 of them.
I tend to think that people that shut them down probably end up freezing their pond up more than if it's left running.
Well,
Yeah.
with the air, I've never actually had mine completely freeze over, ever.
No,
I've had a partial patches of it freeze, and same again this year. A lot less so with the flow running and constantly moving this year than what I did in the years past. I did have slightly more ice on the pond years gone by than what I did this time. But yeah, it's running, I would say, is a better option.
It is. The problem is you'll super chill the water. That's where the danger comes in. So a normal pond will, when a pond freezes, the bottom's always 4 degrees. Water's always densest at 4 degrees. So if you've got a pond that's not running, it doesn't matter how much it freezes, the bottom's always 4 degrees. The fish can swim around. If you've got a bottom drain and the pond's running, you can drop the whole pond to 0, -1, literally, and keep it as liquid. And you will kill the fish because you'll super chill the water to a point below what the fish will tolerate. That's the issue. So you might get away with it running, and people that run backy showers or something that exposes the water, you're exposing the water to oxygen in the summer, but you're exposing it to wind chill and cold in the winter. So you can super chill a pond. We've had it at work where we've had to shut the filter systems down because you're literally, the water is below freezing, but it's still liquid, and the fish are just solid. They're literally. I would eat that chip, Gaz. After that chip.
That one was for Mike because he just put angry faces at me, and I can guarantee you that's because I'm eating something.
That's the problem. That's why ponds in the olden days you'd have a 6 foot deep pond. You'd switch it off in the winter. The bottom would be 4 degrees. The top would freeze, and as long as the gases don't become too much, you're fine. But when you run a filter system, you're exposing all of the water to whatever temperature you're exposing it to. And if you've got water showers,
I'm running with what was inside the shed, because inside my filter shed, the filter was inside the shed warmer. Was like 8 degrees. Yeah, 8 to 10 degrees inside there compared to like 3 and 4 outside. It made a massive difference. But I just wanted to do it as an experiment, so I'm guessing.
You should keep it all running, but there'll be a point when if you're running if you're running filtration as a backy shower and it's minus 12 outside, you're basically turning your whole water into a slush puppy, and at that point you're in especially you're pulling from a bottom drain. There's no thermocline, there's no warmer point. It is just beyond cold, and that's the issue.
But if you've got a particularly deep pond, depth I think helps, because that's no different than how a ground source heat pump works. That water at the bottom level can take heat, if you like, out of the ground at lower levels. So if you've got a filter system that takes from the bottom drain and returns mid-water, that's the term I was looking for. Surely that would be okay. But as you say, turn your showers off, or just,
waterfalls and showers are a nightmare.
Yeah, or just let a drizzle go over the showers to keep them wet, but run them much lower levels or turn them off.
If you're letting a small amount go over your shower, is that not how you crack and freeze your media? When there's a small amount, it freezes and then just expands inside your backyards.
Yeah, it's a good point.
It can, will do. Yeah. See, this is the issue. You run into weird and wonderful problems by doing different little tweaks. So a shower system you don't want exposed to minus temperatures. Period. There's no point in it. You're just cooling water, and there's no life. Bacteria at that temperature is just not doing anything. So there's no point really having water traveling over a shower filter when it's freezing.
You're not feeding at that temperature anyway.
You're just literally freezing the water, aren't you? You're not.
Yeah.
There's no benefit. You're using electricity to power water to go over something that's going. Yeah, there is. It's just. You don't need more oxygen in the water when it's cold. There is no point in it. You're just using power to put water somewhere where it's going to get colder and have no real benefit apart from maybe gassing off some ammonia. Yeah. See, showers and that kind of stuff don't want to be run when it's proper cold.
And then you've got to watch out about your equipment, because if you shut your shower down and your pump is still there in water and that freezes in your pump, you've got one extra pump.
Yeah.
So you need to drain your pump down to the shower as well. And then if it's generally a pump, the water would naturally leave it. But UVs are worse of a problem because they'll shatter the quartz tubes if they're sat with water in and they freeze. But so you either leave things running or drain them down and not running, whichever. Don't know. I live down south. I don't get that cold. This is a great subject for the summer, isn't it?
You said that, this year down south, you had some colder temperatures, though, didn't you? You had some temperatures that dropped quite low.
Yeah, and it froze once.
YouTubers that were putting out videos where pipework had frozen and cracked and broke and bust in certain areas. Yep. I'm saying out of me, obviously, but
it will happen. I mean, if water's not moving, it will. Yeah, if it's going to freeze, it will bust everything, doesn't it? It's pretty strong, isn't it? Yeah. It's just being sensible, really, isn't it? I don't. Yeah. If you're running, just don't run showers, filters. If it's cold, just don't run them. Period. And like I say, if you've got a drainer, a UV or a pump, because it's going to sit. If it's sitting with water in, then do it, or lag it and make sure it's not going to freeze and have it somewhere. Most of that equipment's in like a filter house or a filter box or somewhere where it's not going to freeze. But yeah, I don't know. There's little things like that can go wrong. So it cracks and breaks, and then the next day when it defrosts, you pump your pond out, and it's the same issue, like something you never expect to happen, and then didn't expect that to happen, and now I've pumped my pond out, as you found out, and you think, well, if I'd done this or done that, learning curve, isn't it? You learn what you can and can't get away with, and
that's it. It's everything you do each week in. If you change something up and you do something a little bit different, and something goes wrong, it makes you think, God damn.
Do I really need to do that?
No.
What? Say again?
He's eating his crisps.
Yeah.
I said, you were saying, something happens and then you think to yourself, you don't really need to do that.
I didn't, because literally all I had to do was go out with a bucket, put it in, bit of water, mix it up, pour it in pond. So no, I didn't, mate. I saved myself in grand scheme of things, I saved myself maybe 5 minutes, and then ended up spending 2.5 hours the following night out there putting right what I'd cocked up. So in fact, it was more like 3.5 hours by the time we wiped everything in and got that done and sorted as well. And then I thought, sorry, while I'm doing this, I might as well cut lawn, might as well make a night of it. So I went out there all evening. So no, I didn't save myself anything other than, I could have saved myself some heartache. And I lost free fishing process as well. I was lucky that they were only little babby ones and not, some of my decent fish, bigger fish. I mean, they could have come and probably would have become nice, decent fish, but it's one of the things.
That's lucky. That's lucky you didn't wipe out your whole pond.
Exactly. If it had happened through the earlier part of the day, I could have been coming home to everything being dead, which would have stupid, silly mistake and lesson learned for myself. Crafty's put there, which is something I thought was interesting. You can contact your water board for a discount, especially if you don't send your water to waste. I think it's a 30% discount. Now that can only be done if you've got a soakaway, and a soakaway needs to be a minimum requirement by law, 5 meters away from your property. So just dumping it into your neighbour's garden or dumping it, you're allowed to allow wastewater or runoff water from your garden to your neighbour's garden if it's lower than yours. Pumping it from your said pond into your neighbour's garden is a little bit different. You've got to make sure that water is going into a soakaway, and that soakaway has got to be a minimum of 5 meters away from your house. And most people, when you start talking about a soakaway long term, like for example, that soakaway that James Coy Whisperer put in his garden, end of the 2 years, 3 years system that has been running it, he's going to have to do something with that because it's just literally going to be full of shit in his garden.
He has got a
exactly. There's something to be able to clean it. That's what I mean. So it's not just a case of simply disposing or dispatching of your water. If you're putting it somewhere, it's got to go somewhere, and it's got to go into something properly, which then makes that bill a little bit more expensive to get it all set up right first beforehand. So it's not just a case of, if you're not wanging it down the drain, you can get a 30% discount. The 30% discount that you've then invested 16.5 grand into a soakaway takes a long time to collect back.
Yeah.
But it's a double whammy as well, because you pay for the water and then you pay for the sewerage for the water you've used.
Yeah.
It's a double,
100%. You can do what you're saying, mate, but yeah, there is a little more to it than just that. Your neighbours tend to get a little bit pissed off with you if you make their garden smell of fish shit and pneumonia every week when you just dump it in there.
Not what I did.
Makes the grass grow though.
It does. It does, and that, do you know, as silly as it sounds, I know everybody, well, most of us might use as water that we have and pour it on your plants and everything. And I know years ago when my granddad were alive, their little pond, he used to just pump it out to the bottom of my garden. And he used to go to the bottom of my garden and to neighbours' bushes, and he was like, his flowers are doing amazing this year. Yeah, that's because my granddad's pumping pond out into the middle of your garden, and your flower bed's getting watered with the poo and waste from his pond. So yeah, you wonder why they're doing so good. Well, that's why.
My neighbour's garden is 18 inches lower than mine, and the fence is on like a retainment concrete thing, 18 inches. And funny you say this, he rang me yesterday and he said, Tony, have you left the hose on?
It's got a water feature.
I might have. He said, well, my grass is very squidgy this morning. But a few years ago, he reckons his wife was filling sandbags. But anyway. But yeah, very often it just goes straight through and into his garden. Doesn't matter where I put the hose in my garden to water stuff.
Even if you had guttering channels that ran off of your house, if they ran off straight to your house and onto your land, and you piped it away to your neighbours, if they're lower than you, legally by law you can do it. So runoff water, that's not sewerage water or wastewater, as in just everyday rainwater, you can, thank you, see you later, and pass it on down the line and so on and so on. So.
Why don't you keep the rainwater to top your pond up? Save the water bill.
For me, I'm not on a meter though. I mean, that must be difficult for people that do have ponds that are on a water meter.
Yeah, I'm not on a meter.
No, me neither. I'm on rates. So.
I am as well.
Yeah. We are the whole time.
Next door isn't, and their hose pipes are always available, but I'm on a meter.
So you tapped into next door?
No, I use mine. I use what I pay for.
See if you can tap in for electric as well.
We're failing that. Look, see if there's a lamppost out by the filter house.
Gary says there another discount you can get on your water if it's less than. Another discount you can get on your water if it's less than 16,500 a year. You can get a water bill capped, topped around £160 a year.
What?
Who's got a water bill of 16.5 grand a year, man? Vince?
Boy.
Yeah, I suppose businesses might do. Yeah,
I mean,
that's
I'd like £160 a year water bill as well.
flipping. Wow.
Yeah. Don't know.
Has anybody else got any questions? Because I could have sworn I got some more. There's one.
I've got one.
We'll do this one, then we'll do your one, and then. Oh, in fact, no. Sorry, it does. Do your one, then I can bring this one in after. It might be related.
Yeah, I noticed one or two of the fish looked a bit pinky in the pond tonight. The newest pond I just built. It hasn't had a chance to fully mature yet, so the water's not brilliant. I did a pH test on it, and the pH was 10.5, which is pretty high. Is that an issue for the fish? I mean, I've checked it in the Koi Bible, and that says you can go up to 13, and it's not detrimental to the fish. But the fish look pinky, all the white ones did, so they weren't liking it. And if so, how'd you get it down?
The Koi Bible said, sorry, you can go up to 13.
Yeah,
that's so alkaline that'll burn your skin off.
Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah, there's not many animals could survive that. No. I'm not sure about that. pH of maybe 11 would, it cause it's high, proper high. And is the water proper green or is it clear?
It's proper green, pea green, yeah.
Green, yeah.
Doesn't that raise the pH?
Yeah. So that will be on a diurnal rhythm, so it will be lower in the morning than it is in the evening. But that is high.
Yeah.
I'm
So you want to
surprised,
know how to get it
you can
down.
see him being pink and that kind of, yeah.
I mean, tap water.
White
7,
vinegar.
hang on.
White vinegar will reduce your pH.
Right.
It will.
UV. I'm going to fit a UV on it in the weekend. Get rid of the algae for a start. Hopefully that'll lower it a bit.
Add a
but
few chips and
you need to lower it, then harden the water. Otherwise, you're going. If you use something like vinegar, technically you could use an acid to lower the pH, but you're taking out all the hardness in the water. So the algae, when it comes back the next day or the day after, will go even. You're going into realms of uncontrollability. You want to go actually the other way, and actually use lots of calcium to stabilize the water at a neutral pH and harden the water up so it can't fluctuate and it will stay in a much more sensible zone. But yeah, that sounds that sounds off the scale. I'm surprised they're alive.
Yeah.
Our ponds will when we fertilize the ponds and create the mass algae blooms, you will get a big influx of pH because the base water we use is quite soft. But yeah, 10.5 is, and that will kill Daphnia as well as start to kill fish and everything. You're getting right up to the realms of 13. You take your skin off. You put your hand in it. That's drain cleaner. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's top 14 top scale, and that's off the charts.
It was filled up identical to the pond next to it. The pond next to it's 8. So
is it clear?
It's clear.
It's got
UV.
Yeah. So basically, the algae is. I'd suggest your pH kit's probably over exaggerating where it is. Yeah. But it's obviously very high, and obviously the massive amount of algae is creating that high pH, especially at the end of the day. But the easiest way to do it is kill the algae and harden the water up, and it will stop it. You just stabilize it.
Right, I'll do that.
That's job done. There you go.
You better rush out there and do it now.
I might struggle to get a UV this time of night.
Well, the other one is you can always do a water change, and that will reduce it as well as.
But the problem is if you've got very soft water, the algae will grow so fast. If all the conditions are right and the sun comes out, it will just recreate itself.
Pretty hard. I mean, KH was.
Your KH was nuts, wasn't it?
26, yeah.
26 from his well water.
Yeah, and it's part well water, part tap water. I filled it with.
But it must be a massive algal bloom you're having to
it did go green pretty fast, and it's been like that for probably about 6 weeks. Really green. You can't see the fish in it; it's that green.
Right.
Anyway, sorry.
Till they get to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to control the algae and stabilize the water somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've got some powdered lime anyway.
Yeah, we used to use a lot of chalk, but again, clays are brilliant. You just dig, if you've got clay near, just dig a it stops the algae growing because it colours the water, stops the sunlight, just stabilises the water. And you could probably solve your problem by UV, knock the algae back, colour it with clay, and you've got the pond you want.
Yeah. Cool.
Double thumbs up.
What are you using, Daz?
What am I using?
You have to test it up to 13 because
that's
my test bottomed out at I think 10.5. So that was the reading I got. But I was saying I've read up, and apparently you can go to 13 before it's detrimental to the fish's welfare. But I'm
not fish I know. That's not fish I know. Yeah, 13's like drain clip. That is proper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Proper. I don't know. Who
There's a
knows?
quick one I'll bring up, and I'm glad you brought it up, Mick. Number one thing I would say is to have a quarantine tank, as I've learned that, and my coit are all knackered. When we were saying how we'd got friends that are having problems with the bacterial infections and etc. Both these people that have had the ponds go out through the whole winter period with absolutely nothing, no issues, no problems, fish looking fine, fish looking fantastic. Temperatures have started to come back up and the problems have just come straight back again. They're right back to the same place. The bloodborne bacteria infection, switch straight back on. Fishes with ulcers, mouth rot, fin rot, everything else. And this is why I jumped on Dave's last week, was to share that a little bit of information is quarantines. And it's why I've managed to come to a reasonable compromise with my wife to go and move that fish tank from where it is, to put it up outside its shed, put it up there and make it into a quarantine system that from now on in, fish, if they come to my pond, new environment, will all be going in there. And that's the reason why. Because even when you think you've got on top of it, even when you think you've cracked it and your brocket's back and you think your fish are good, as soon as those temperatures start to rise back up again and that bacteria starts to thrive and kick up and multiply and keep going as it has, it's not just Nick. We've got another friend that's got exactly the same problem as well. And already I've lost several fish to it. It's going to have to be what it's going to have to be. Total annihilation of everything that they've got, completely wipe out, completely clear out all the stock and start all over again. And that's where they're both at that situation now. So again, as we've mentioned it, we spoke about it before. Number one golden rule, guys, if you haven't got one, fit a pond shut-off system and get yourself sorted out with a quarantine system, because let's learn from the last 18 months and let's not see anybody else have all the stock and all the fish ruined by what is an absolute killer for all those fish.
100%. I couldn't agree more. At the end of the day,
We were chatting about this today, weren't we?
we did have this. And to be fair, we've been biosecure for nigh on 30 years. So when new broods that come in, we buy them from people that have quarantined them, heat ramped them, put them through 4 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever. We bring them onto we don't even bring them on the farm. They go somewhere separate. We put them through another 4 to 6 weeks with some of our fish as testers, heat ramping them, put them through all kinds of stresses. And when they do come on the farm, they go separate again, basically for nearly another year before we then start actually having faith that it's, we can trust at what point. Because it's just one of those things. Once you've got a problem in a water body, you can't get it out of a water body, regardless. And it is just, you've got to learn from your mistakes. But the amount of people that, you put fish in, you buy fish, and once it's there, you're in deep trouble. And as weirdly as I said to Vince today, KHV is a horrendous disease, but almost it's a blessing that it wipes your fish out. You kind of, it kills basically everything, bar a few. You start again. But whereas bacterial ulcers stuff is an ongoing issue that just takes down fish one after, and you start going out to your pond looking for what fish has got a problem, what fish has got a wound, not going out to enjoy the hobby. And it just becomes living nightmare.
And when you think you've got on top of it, you'll have those lulls where it goes, oof, and everything looks fine, and all your fish come back to tip-top condition, and they all look perfect, and you think, yes, we've cracked it. And 2 days later, you walk back out, and there's a massive, great big ulcer on a fish again. And everything that you've done is back to square one. And then your next fish, and then your next fish. Then
if you go back 20 years, they used to call it Aeromonas alley. It was something that was so common that it was a term in people that kept koi, and it was a temperature zone they called Aeromonas alley, where that ulcer causing sort of bacteria that Aeromonas is it's a strain of bacteria. There's hundreds of strains of bacteria and hundreds of strains. The ones that cause those diseases don't come from nowhere. They have to be on a particular fish. You can't introduce them unless you're introducing fish and whatever. It just doesn't occur there. But there's certain temperature zones, and sort of 12 to 17 degrees is the window when that's when that bacteria is in its danger zone.
That's exactly
Aeromonas alley. At that temperature, above and below, you're okay. That window you're going to see it.
I still say it can work back to front as well, because I think you can have a pond full of fish that you've not introduced fish for years, and they're fine, and they become immune to everything within your own pond and that scenario, and they can live with quite a lot of these problems quite happily because they've hardened to it. Their immune system got 100%. Used to it, and then you put a nice new fish in from wherever, a beautiful fish that apparently got nothing wrong with it at all, and it probably hasn't, and you put it into this situation, and everything in that pond becomes alive and attacks the fish that's not hardened and used to that environment, and then that fish gets blamed for everything because it's the one that's gone down with it.
Yeah.
It just lives
even if you do, like, for example, and I hate to keep bringing this poor lad into it, but he is the guy that I've seen on YouTube that's put it out there. When you see something like Mike that's gone through what he's gone through, and he's done what needed to be done, and he's gone out there and he's got the treatment for the said fish, and he's got the vast majority of them right. But then he's got that thing for the rest of his life where if I introduce something else back to this pond, put something new in, does that fish then go down that cycle of having to go through all that crap, getting ulcers, vaccinations, treatments? And what can you do with the fish now they're carriers? You can't give them anybody else because it annihilates their pond.
We've seen it. Yeah, 100%. We've seen it before. You can't see you can have an established pond of fish that have grown an immunity to a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you then pass those fish on to someone else, there's a good chance they'll have the problem. And if you put new fish in, they'll have a problem. So as long as you're aware of it and you don't move the fish, okay, that's one thing. But yeah, the difficulty is after 10 years, those fish might look mint, and the person that owns them dies, and then that new person that buys the house gives the fish away. They don't know knowingly that they're now passing on a problem.
Yeah. But a problem, nevertheless, that can spiral straight back into it, all kicking off in somebody else's pond afterwards.
Yeah.
Which is, like you said, the best thing is a sacrificial fish, a quarantine system, banging that fish in there after it's been in there for a period of time, putting in I mean, it's a horrible way to say it, like, but a sacrificial fish, putting that in there, in a bit, Vince. It's gone for more chips. You put that fish in there. If nothing happens, maybe add one or two more, and if everything's good, good to go. That's as much as you can do. But if nothing else, I think it's something that we all could learn from. And mate, I'm gutted for you. I'm gutted for you both. But
he's got to
get because he's got poor internet connection as well. But hopefully, guys, nobody else has to suffer this year with it. But everybody might think I'm a harsh bastard for it, and everybody might think, it's not the right thing to do. But for me, when you've got it and it's as bad as that, euthanize. Get rid of them all. Start afresh. Get go. Problem done. Yes, it's not a nice thing to do, but I think it's the only true answer.
There is different levels of it. That's the problem.
Yeah. Oh, I'm talking about the bloodborne ones, the ones that are curable, non-curable ones, and ones that you can't do anything with. If you've had them tested, they've come back with that. Then
the trouble is that there's a lot of sort of confusion about the testing. They'll go off for bacterial testing, and they'll come back Pseudomonas, Aeromonas, those types of bacteria are in every pond, everywhere, but they don't cause diseases. There's certain types that will cause the diseases, and that's kind of the issue. So if you've got those nasty bacteria that will cause those massive lesions and the fish just disintegrating, that is not your normal Aeromonas whatever that's in your pond. So you've got a whole ecosystem in your pond, but you don't get ulcers. It doesn't matter how bad your pond gets. If you don't look after the filters or whatever, it doesn't matter how bad your pond gets. You don't get those diseases unless you've introduced it from somewhere. And to be fair, like Tony said, you could have it in your pond and your fish have all got an immunity to it, and then you bring in a new fish that's never seen it. 2 weeks later, that fish is full of holes, and it all kicks off again. But yeah.
Sorry, if your yearly, I misread what Gary put. So if your yearly income is less than 16,500 a year, you can get a water bill capped topped around £160 a year. Cheers, guys. Sorry, I did misread that. Yeah, gutted, mate, gutted. But look, as we've always said, we're all there, mate. We'll all be there to go through whatever needs to be done. We'll all get together and get it sorted, both for you and for, you know.
And hopefully it's coming towards the end. It's the last few fish remaining, isn't it? When they're gone, then hopefully that's start up again. Because they just, it's like a zombie at the moment, isn't it? You're just treading water, just waiting. Yeah.
That is the bad thing about those ulcer diseases, that every time you think you've sorted it, another one gets the mark and a wound, and it never seems to go away. And the antibiotics, let's be honest, aren't available in this country to use.
Yeah.
So well, that's just not the only option. Is just don't get it in your pond if you can help it.
Simon Shears saying there, I got 2 new koi from TBR, and like the old, just bang them in, and it all seemed great. Even the twisted fry I collected, horses for courses, and I'm at 25 degrees. Yeah, mate, you've been lucky. Same as me. Every time I've ever done it, mate, other than a PP dip, I've been lucky. Never had anything, never got any. And I've had fish from TBR. I've got fish from Poland. I'm not pointing the finger at anybody. It's just, all I'm simply saying is that the days right now, with what's going around and what's out there, right. The way to look at it, and as Rick said, there's a ground zero, and that's where it started. And now that ground zero has become further and further spread, and more people are getting infected with it. And that's for a reason. And the reason is poor husbandry. Simple. And if we can prevent it, then if we can prevent it, we should try as very best, not for the hobbyist, but for the fish. That's my opinion. And there has to be a starting source, where it came from, whoever it may have been, or whatever it might have been, or whatever, it had to have started somewhere, which then led to A, B, C, D, E, and everybody else, and all those other people that have had it out there. It's too coincidental for it just to have like Rick's just said, it doesn't just start in your pond, it's introduced. So those people that have had the issue and those people that have got the issue have introduced the issue. And the issue being wherever it may have come from or however it got there is the source. I'm not pointing fingers at anyone. I've got fish from TBR. In my pond, my Yamabuki Okun is from Jack. I've got my Polish fish from Poland. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I've got fish from my local store. I've got fish from Rick's. I've got fish from Adam Byers. I haven't got one from Adam Byers. I didn't pick one up, actually. I was going to do, but Dave bought it instead. So I've got fish from, quite a lot of different number of places. But I've been really lucky. And I think if you continue being really lucky, at some point, your luck runs out. Yeah. It's only a matter of time. That's all I'm saying. I think if we can encourage more and more people to do it and get a quarantine system up and running, the better.
You're just protecting your investment at the end of the day, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know, you work hard to be able to
I think-
afford these nice things.
I think this is where YouTube's good. When I started 30 years ago, and we used to buy fish in from Japan, China, Israel, Malaysia, we saw ulcers and all sorts of bacterial problems coming in. Probably every third shipment of fish coming in would have some bacterial problem, and that would be a nightmare. And so those fish obviously were a nightmare to deal with. And there was no regulation. You could buy fish from anywhere, and they could come in the most amazing fish you've ever seen. They could come in the most horrendous fish you've ever seen. But those fish would end up in different people's ponds, and some would survive. So you could go back to ground zero, being 20 years ago, batches of goldfish coming in from Singapore and South Africa or whatever, and those fish then get moved from people's ponds around and about and end up as a pond job going somewhere and getting spread round. It's not. It used to be a lot more common, and as husbandry's got better, and it used to see it from a lot of farms in Japan, to be fair, you don't see it anymore because the farms just don't tolerate it. It's just got to a point where the skills and the knowledge and the husbandry's got to a point where you stamp the problems out and you deal with what you've got. And if you send a fish, years ago you used to be able to buy a box of fish from a farm in Japan. If there's a problem, there's no trace back, there's no nothing. It's just, well, what is your fault? Now everything is kind of traceable, and if you've got a problem, you can say, well, CFAS or DEFRA, that we've got this bacterial problem, we've got this viral problem, and they go, well, those fish should come from that, and it's the Japanese government are involved. Everyone's involved. That they don't want that issue, and it's all regulated to the point where actually it's a much safer kind of industry, as it were. But you can still buy fish from anywhere in the world, be it goldfish, ornamental fish haven't got the same legislation on them as, like, you can't buy a normal carp from Europe, yet you can buy an ornamental carp from anywhere in the world with no problem. And so you could bring in any disease from anywhere in the world because it's an ornamental carp, but you can't bring in a normal carp unless it's got clearance of certain diseases. It's crazy, and that's where a lot of these problems occur. So you'll bring in fish from Malaysia, Singapore, wherever. Oh, there's a cheap deal for these fish coming from Europe, China, whatever, and suddenly those fish then get dispersed, and so these problems will just get spread round. There is no legislation with ornamental fish. Basically, you can ship fish in, and the good dealers will bring fish in, and they will quarantine them, and they will, stuff coming. Everything's recorded. Yet I could still buy a box of fish from Singapore, go and pick them up from Heathrow Airport, take them and sell them to anyone I liked, anywhere, and spread any disease. And that's perfectly legal for me to do that, which is crazy. That to me is insane. Whereas I can't go and buy a normal carp from France to put in a fishing lake, got all sorts of clearances, but I could go and buy a box of goldfish from anywhere in the world with any sort of problem and give them to anyone. And that's kind of the crux of the problem. So the problem, these kind of issues could start from a weird and wonderful place that you don't see coming. All these problems these YouTubers have got might have started from a box of goldfish that come from South Africa, and they happen to be mixed with a bunch of koi somewhere in a garden centre, and they got spread round or whatever. That's
what I mean. There's always a source, isn't there?
There's always a source, but tracing that, and when there's no legislation with ornamental fish, how would you really? We're traced as a farm.
It's impossible, isn't it? It's impossible.
We're traced as a farm, but dealers that buy in fish aren't traced in the same manner, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But that's just how it works. So if you've got a pet shop license, you can buy fish from wherever, go and collect them from the airport and give them to whoever, and there's no There's no record. There's no tracing of that. As a farm, where everything we ship to other people that are selling fish is traced. So the breadcrumbs can be followed back to a problem only if it's us, but not if it's from abroad.
Yeah.
And it comes down to the customer. The person has to be sensible. If you've got a population of koi in your pond that you love, don't buy a fish from somewhere you don't know and just chuck in there.
Is that where it's worth knowing that your dealer is doing sufficient heat ramps?
Yeah, if you trust your dealer and he's buying from a source that is, and that's one of the positives with Japanese stuff, that they are much more strict on it, because just the whole industry, the stuff from Japan is traceable and sourced, and if there's a problem with a breeder in Japan, no one would touch them. So they're all proper on it. That's just how the industry's kind of worked. But you can buy koi from anywhere on this planet that it isn't traceable in the same way. So the few English farms where everyone sort of follows us, and if there's a problem with any of our fish, everyone would know. And the same with kind of the Japanese stuff. But the fish that come from America, South Africa, Israel, whatever, it's not the same. They come into garden centres, they get spread round, and there's no traceability on those. And that's, I'm not saying they're the culprits, but I'm just saying that's not a fairground. That sounds like it's not an even playing field. Better than a fairground. Yeah. So ourselves, Cuttlebrook, Anno, whatever. So Defra and CFAS will come and check us. Everything we sell to dealers, everything we sell to registered farms is all traceable. It's all recorded. Everything coming from Japan is basically, the farms out there are tested in the same manner, but the farms elsewhere in the world aren't. And there's no restrictions. You can't restrict fish coming in from China or Singapore or Malaysia or wherever, because free trade says you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
If you want to buy fish from there, you can.
Which that sort of tips me onto a bit of a topic that I saw somebody put on Facebook in a question.
Before we go any further, guys, I'm going to have to call it a night. I'm starting to flag here. So before I do...
You've been up that long.
Vince has failed at the first. He's fallen at the first hurdle, coming up shortly, followed by Rick, New Forest Koi, because they've all been up koi breeding all night.
I'm going back tomorrow, mate. I'm back in.
But before I go, can we please remind everyone that my 2,000 subscriber giveaway draw is this Sunday on this channel?
Yes, it will be done. There you go.
Live Sunday night here on GKP.
What time you want to do, Vince? What time you going?
Do 7:30, 8 o'clock.
7:30, 8 o'clock. Be there or be square for the live 200 subscriber giveaway.
200.
2,000.
200,000. I mean 2,000. Just wait till we're doing that. 200,000 Vince.
Oh, mate.
I won't be there. Sorry.
Thanks very much, mate. Take it easy.
Catch you later, guys.
In a bit, bud.
Last
question that we've got for this evening. The last one that we're going to discuss. We'll make it as it's a little bit that's been discussed before, but it's got some valid points. Chris Enton says, is there any point in using a food such as Sakai Akari growth, which is recommended for 20 degrees and above, unless your pond is heated? Would you notice the benefits from using it at cooler temperatures? I've always and currently use Akari Staple and Gold, which is suitable for use at cooler temps. So would there be any use in using foods such as Sakai Akari growth, which can only be used or should be used in temperatures above 20 degrees and above, unless you're in a heated pond? So that's going back to what things you've mentioned before in past, Rick. But
He's answered his own question, hasn't he?
there isn't any point, is there? Because
Yeah.
you're not going to see the benefits feeding it in a lower temperature other than giving them a good quality staple food that they're not going to get the potential growth from.
It's just basically the more protein you give a fish below a certain temperature, it just reverts it to ammonia. So you're just creating more waste for no growth.
Water.
It says quite clearly on the tin, basically, 20 degrees and above, use it. 20 degrees and below, don't use it. I think that's it's not something.
So, Chris, really, mate, yes, in temperatures above 20 degrees in a heated pond, you'd be getting the benefits. Below, then you're getting no benefits other than more waste in your pond and more ammonia for your filtration system to deal with.
Yeah, you're basically you're paying extra for food that you're then having to pay extra to shove the waste.
Literally flush down your waste, yeah.
But
Takazumi mix is a 50-50 growth and colour, and I think the temperature you can start feeding that at is a lot lower. I don't know whether it's 10 degrees or might even be 8 degrees. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But, a lot lower, and I think it's got a similar performance to Sakiakari.
From my experience, what I've seen with it and when people have used it, there's a lot of waste with it.
My only problem with something like that, it says Takazumi grow 50-50. Could feed it. Koi will not grow above literally 18 degrees and above. So technically, it doesn't matter that you can feed the food at 10 degrees as a mix, but they're not growing at 10 degrees.
Yes,
You're kind of, yeah. Everything about them is to do with the water temperature. So if the water temperature is below 18 degrees and they physically cannot put on muscle growth at that temperature, then the growth side, the 50-50, yeah, it's a better food than all growth, but why feed the growth at all?
Still 50% of it is being wasted in
it's kind of
degrees.
The whole point of a winter food or a low protein food or a staple is temperature. It's designed to be fed at a temperature where the fish will utilize the nutrients in the food by mixing a bit of this and a bit of that. It's better, but it's still not, at 10 degrees, that fish is not going to grow.
Yeah, 50% of it. If 50% is for the lower temperatures and the other 50% is for the above temperatures, you're wasting that other 50%, aren't you? So half of what they're getting till it gets above that.
To a point, it's not.
It's not waste, but it's going to produce more waste. 50% of it.
Yeah, in my eyes, if you're feeding fish at low temperatures, you feed a food that is designed just to give them the energy they need at low temperatures. And if you're feeding the fish at temperatures where they're going to grow, you feed them at temperatures where you're going to use food to grow. And like I say, we tend to use lower protein foods than's ever recommended. The manufacturers will design a food that in optimal conditions at an optimal temperature will create an optimal amount of muscle mass and growth. But in reality, that you're just never really in that window. So you tend to
Ricky, what temperature have you got number 30 at?
Probably 25 to 30 degrees at the minute.
Right.
It will vary massively. It's in a polytunnel. It will varies a lot, but I would say it's I'll probably blow the color off it. It will be quite big, but it might not be very pretty by the time it gets there.
My thermostat's going to be turned up a bit for number 17 now.
Temperature's not. This is the whole point. I think temperature's not always the winner. It's a balance. A balance.
Well, what you've got to remember as well, though, Tony, is the whole idea of the growing show. It's not about the size.
It's not just about grow. It's about wanting to show it.
It's a shame
the quality of the fish as well.
The twisted one's not here now, but he actually disagreed last time you said that, Gaz.
You can disagree all he wants, mate. There was this gentleman. Well, no, actually, this is a bit between us. This might not necessarily be the actual growing show for Vince. Vince's growing show is about that. They beat the dealer, which was set by us lot internally. That one is purely about the best fish. Because I'm going to be providing everybody with the smallest Yamatonoshiki in the competition. I can pretty much guarantee it. My fish don't grow quick, and I'm cool with that. I'm happy with that.
And yours will probably be the prettiest, mate.
Yeah,
I
that's
reckon
it.
mine might be plain white by the time I get it finished.
To be fair, though, honestly, Rick, I love the fish. It's something totally different in the pond. There's nothing else like it. That's what I like in a fish. So that fish grows steadily and slowly. I'm happy for it to do exactly what it's doing.
Perfect.
Brings me pleasure to look at it. I'm not bothered about it going, I'm being massive. Because I'll have to kick my ass if we have to make the pond bigger again. So.
Just hit the nail on the head, Gaz. That's what you enjoy. That's what you're enjoying. That
yeah, it is.
There you go.
That's it. And that's what it's about.
That's what you. That's what
Crafty
you
has mentioned a little belter there that I want to bring up and add into it before we wrap up for the evening. You should also have dedicated equipment for your quarantine ponds, which is overlooked by a lot of hobbyists. No use having a quarantine pond if you're sharing nets and pan nets, bowls, and etc. I totally agree. And it's again something that it is quite commonly overlooked. You know, people will pick up from one. I've seen it in many a shop where they dip it in one tank and then they go from there and then they pass it to the mate and they dip it in that tank and then they put both the fish in the same bowl. And you're thinking, well, what's the point of having those two fish in a separate quarantine system if you've just put them in the same bowl, use the same net? And that can be seen on YouTube happening. So,
at the very least, have a tank at the side with bleaching to sterilise your net with.
Yeah. So you can, like the, what's it called?
Vercom.
That's the one. Yeah. The Vercom. Because it works for your fishing nets and stuff when you used to go to it's like me as an angler, you used to go to any place where you go for a fishing net. And what you would be doing is you'd take your landing net, you keep it, and you dip it in one of those tanks, you'd leave it in there 10 minutes or so, come back down, pick it up, give it a good shake off, bang. And then you could use your keep net, you could use your landing net without running the risk of bringing anything from one pond to another. And I know a lot of koi farms and such will have tanks for you to dip your feet in, especially in Japan. You can see them doing it where they'll wash the feet off, scrub the feet off before they walk around their premises because they don't want anything coming from one to another. And these are the necessary courses that they have to go to prevent spread from one to another. It's needs
Well, I tend to keep a bottle of bleach down the garden with me. Every time I'm doing any work with the fish, I'll put a fresh squirt of bleach in the bleach tank because after 12, 24 hours, it's probably evaporated out anyway. People think, mix it up. It's good for months. It's not. No, you've got to keep putting it in fresh to make sure it's strong and kill the bacteria or whatever, or parasites.
Absolutely. Vercon tablets and PP dips. Or PP dip, yeah.
Or separate equipment. So we got a fishery. We got a fishery on the farm, and basically, we toyed with the idea of having a dip, and actually, it was like you've got to trust the most lazy person coming onto the farm to do it. So basically, all we did was every swim on the fishery has a landing net, a weigh sling, a land. So they're not allowed to bring that. They come fishing, but they can't bring all of that equipment with them. It's already provided that lives on site. So all of that equipment that touches fish is literally there for them. So you take away that sort of laziness.
So,
and that.
Right, let me ask you a quick question there, Rick. So you've got waters to fish, carp waters to fish.
There's a fishery at the bottom of our. Yeah, we've got a carp fishery at the bottom of our farm.
Can you bivvy it?
Can you bivvy it? Yes.
Can you night fish?
Yes.
That's
you can't. You're not allowed.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Like
Yeah.
That's the plan.
It's a syndicate lake, but the point is, all these dips and stuff all rely on everyone doing what they should. And the reality is, there'll always be one person that doesn't. So by making it safer, if you provide all that equipment that's always there, then even the laziest person has got no excuse. It's there. You're not bringing it on or off site. You literally have to turn up, bring your chair to sit on and your fishing rods or whatever, and everything else is provided. And it's just there.
Is that including refreshments, tea, coffee, biscuits?
Yeah, I bring down
Morning bacon sandwich.
curries at night, beer. It's all included.
Coffee on the night as well. Wicked. Dad, let's get it booked.
Yeah.
Right, guys. I hope that everybody out there is enjoying, because we did have a little bit of a moaner on the other week, and I want to address some. I mean, me being able to sit here and listen to somebody like Rick and listen to Vince, listen to Daz, and everybody else that comes on and joins us, for me is an eye opener and educational. And I hope that everybody out there is hopefully learning a little bit of something and getting something from it. And it's the reason why we're going to continue to do it and do it in the format that we're doing. So if everybody has got, what I will do, and I always do each week, is I'll leave a little community post. If anybody has anything that they would like to discuss, whether it be, not forgetting the Asagi's, which we will be doing photos and videos for the Koi Appreciation next week. If anybody else has got any questions or anything that they would like to discuss and chat and talk with us, feel free to put your comments in there or on the Facebook group where I put the 2 advertisements. Join us again next week. Again, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have another good live and another interesting, informative show for you. Usual thing, guys. If you could do me a huge favor, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. Until next time, and until next week, we'll catch you all on the next one. Thanks very much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Aaron Humbercoy. Thank you, Tony,
Yes,
Dan, and Rick, and least of all, Vince, who's left us earlier. But thanks again to you guys for coming back week in, week out and watching. Take care, all. Good night, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Night, everyone.
No.